That Eagle team never ceases to deliver when it comes to content. 37 days away from the start of training camp, and we got more drama in the building there at Eagle Camp, and I can't wait to hit on it. By the way, we are so glad that we have a connection with Brandon Sorsby. Hit the like button. Super chats go to the top. So, let's start it out here. Brandon Sorsby. Should the Eagles make a shot at him and go after him in a supplemental draft? Absolutely. They should do this. Now, before we go more into him, I was the second highest drafted player in the history of the supplemental draft. Remember, Reggie White went in a USFL supplemental. I went in the traditional supplemental draft, and I was the second highest drafted defensive tackle in the history of the supplemental draft. I believe the supplemental draft started in 1975 or 76, something like that. And I will promise you, that's not the way to go into the NFL. Steve Young struggled with it. Steve Young was an absolute bust when he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because he went into the supplemental draft. It was Bill Walsh who traded for him and put Humpty Dumpty back together and made Steve Young one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. That supplemental draft is a tough way to go. And Brandon Sorsby is a first-round grade player, according to Bledsoe. We got the report on him heading into the supplemental draft. He is a top-flight first-round quarterback. He's 10 times the player Jackson Dart is. Now, here is the issues with the supplemental draft. He has missed a boatload of time with the OTAs and minicamp. I can't tell you how hard that is on a player when you miss that kind of time. Now, Jalen Hurts is not going to be giving up the position at any time this coming 2026 season. So, it would be good to have him and then get him ready for 27. When you miss that kind of time, I'm telling you, it's almost impossible for you to recover. Here, just to give you a little insight. For me, I got drafted in September in the supplemental draft. I had missed all of training camp. I had missed all the OTAs. I had missed all of that. And when I got my Buccaneer uniform, I had a 2-week exemption. So I had 1 week. They didn't use the full 2 weeks. I had 1 week to get myself ready. I had a couple practices, and then I played against the Chicago Bears. Let me tell you something. I never caught up. And it was just a brutal experience. Plus, I've told you this before, Rich McKay has come on this program. They drafted me to play nose guard. The whole thing, it was just, it's impossible sometimes because you don't have a lot of time. So the supplemental draft, if he's going in this, he's going to be a player that's going to play in 27, not in 2026. And the Eagles are a prime candidate for that. So, should the Eagles take a flyer on him? Why wouldn't you take a flyer on him? Why wouldn't you? He's a first-round grade. I'll give you the Bledsoe report on him now. This is what they say about him heading into the supplemental draft. Brandon Sorsby is a widely graded as a day 2, second, third-round talent, though his evaluation comes with major complications. His pure physical tools and arm talent suggest he's an early first-round pick in talent, but his grade fluctuates significantly due to the off-field evaluations. Draft projections. Talent evaluators and draft analysts widely agree that on pure talent, Sorsby is a first-day player. He's a first-day player. Before entering the supplemental draft, he was widely considered the top 3 quarterback in all prospects heading into the 27 college football season. He's 6'3", 235 pounds, possesses an electric arm, mobility, and ability to throw accurate off-platform. Evaluators have compared his playing style to Baker Mayfield and to Jackson Dart, whatever you think of those two guys. And again, the gambling controversy, I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles will have an issue with that. So, and I don't really think a lot of NFL teams will have an issue with that. And let's see here. And as Bledsoe has him at 6'3" and a little bit over, actually. Brandon Sorsby's. Let me get the Bledsoe here because they measured him this fall or this winter. He's 6'3" and he's a little bit over 6'3". So, would you take a gamble on him? I'm not going to put a 1 up for him, and I'm not going to put a 2 up for him. I would definitely put up a 3 for him. Now, do I think teams in the NFL, by the way, his skill set coming out of college is superior to Hurts as a thrower. He's not in Brandon Sorsby's room when it comes to arm talent. And this is the kind of quarterback that you want on your football team. Okay? And so I do believe, and the Eagles like him, by the way. They're one of the teams that have inquired about him playing. And they are interested in Brandon Sorsby. Now, what does that mean? Here's how the supplemental draft works. Okay? It's kind of a lottery. So the recent NFL draft, let's take a look at that. The recent NFL draft, 2026 draft, NFL draft. And this is how it would go. So the Raiders would get the first pick. They don't need a quarterback. The Jets might take him. The Cardinals could take him. Tennessee, New York, Kansas City, Washington. I would say with Tyler Shook, New Orleans won't. Cleveland might at number 9. Giants won't. Cowboys won't. Dolphins might. Rams won't. Ravens might. Jets had 2 picks. Lions, doubtful. Minnesota might. Carolina might. And there's the Eagles. Now, if the Eagles don't want to put a 1 in, the Steelers might. Chargers won't. Cowboys won't. Browns may. What I'm saying to you is you go down the list of all the teams that were picking in this previous April draft. And if you use a first, a second, or a third, the following year, you lose that pick. The Buccaneers lost the 56th pick in the draft, in the 1988 draft for me. They exercised the supplemental. Seattle took Bosworth in the first round. They lost their first-round pick in 1988. And the Philadelphia Eagles lost their pick in the 4th round with Chris Carter. Okay, so they're not going to ban. See this? They're not going to ban him in retro. What? If anything, it would be a 2-game suspension on what the courts said. Suspend him for what? Legal gambling? So it makes sense for a team like Philly for them to be able to Take a gamble on him. Sills, Sorsby does not seem like a football mature leader. He seems like a degenerate, entitled, selfish dude. I don't know if you look past those things when you're talking about the quarterback position. You mean like when Michael Vick was murdering dogs? Or Deshaun Watson is allegedly molesting women? What are you talking about? You're talking about the NFL here, Curtis. Remember that. You're not talking about a daycare center. You're talking about the NFL that only cares about one thing: winning. Hyper, you dumbass. Ray Lewis killed a guy. Michael Irvin stabbed a teammate and smoked crack. Dante Stallworth killed someone. They all played. Unfortunately, that's true. Stop with the sanctimonious bullshit. Well, I don't know about the gambling. Ray Lewis murdered somebody, allegedly. So if the Eagles take him, he would be surrounded with so many therapists, support, and oversight. I'd be fine with it. I think they should take him. It's a great way to get out from Hurts. So if Howie submits a pick and doesn't get him, wouldn't that stir the media and locker room? Is that worth the flyer? Sometimes those aren't put out publicly on who put a bid in for him. I don't know if those picks go public. I never found out how many teams put a bid in for me. But I was considered a high draft pick for the supplemental round. A third round pick is high. Today it's a second rounder. As a matter of fact, Hurts was only taken 3 picks earlier than me. So put that in context. I think Jalen was the 53rd player taken. I was the 56th player taken. So it would be a second rounder. Sills, I believe that teams will, with multiple picks, Jets with 1 pick, must use their pick. I do not believe you can use a pick acquired via trade. You could check me on that. Correct. You can't use picks that you got, like, you can't use that A.J. Brown 2028 pick to take him in this upcoming draft. Okay? Sills, seems Nicole Lynn is complaining to the media about Jalen not getting support from the Eagles. You think that story came from her? Probably so. Probably so. They're not all in on Hurts. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. In today's media, it feels like the information would leak. Probably so. Hurts can't even run the Wildcat anymore since he refuses to run. Sills, you got me wrong. I wasn't moralizing, okay? I just don't want a douche at quarterback. I want a leader. Well, I'll tell you what. I think Big Dom and Howie. Now, what do you think is more egregious? What do you think is more egregious, Curtis? Being an accomplice in a car that killed someone in a race, or gambling? Do you think what Jalen Carter did was less than what Brandon Sorsby did? It's something to think about. Sorsby will be in the mold of Ryan Leaf. The team that drafts him will keep the media at bay. Especially with leak with how many stories around Sorsby and Hurts. And see, Jim Tressel was suspended by the NFL for 6 games when the Colts hired him because of his NCAA violations. I don't think it's crazy to say that they'll punish Sorsby in some bullshit fashion. I think they're gonna go by the courts. I think those first 2 games he'll be suspended. That's what the court came out with. What else are you going to suspend him for? He didn't bet on NFL games. Now he may have, and that could be where the NFL comes down. Okay? I think Big Dom doing his due diligence. Hey, let me put it to you this way. If you can get this guy for a 3rd-round pick, that's a steal. Front office is 1,000% not behind Hurts. Look at the guys they drafted and signed. I added because I disagree with this guy. If they were all in, they'd have a contract in front of them. And they wouldn't be planning stories. Seals, I was watching Sorsby's tape all morning. The Rams are kicking themselves. That kid is already better than Ty Simpson today. He's going for a 2nd at the least. I think he's a 1st-round talent. How about this? Jimbo, he's got more talent than Fernando Mendoza. He's got more talent. The difference with Mendoza and Sorsby is that Sorsby doesn't process as well as Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza, I think the reason that John Spytek, the GM, and Tom Brady were taken by Fernando Mendoza was because of the way he sees the game and how he processes. And that they can work with that. Mendoza's fantastic. Okay? Fantastic. Sills, there's a rule in every sport that you can't break. Don't bet on your team. So wait a minute. I can rape women, but I can't bet on my team, and you're going to hold me out of that. Is that correct? Is that right, Bob? You'll take a guy with 28 sexual assaults over a guy who gambled legally. Really? Deshaun Watson is the poster child for all that bullshit. That guy allegedly raped women, but hey, don't bet on a team or bet on a game. Is that what you're saying? I mean, what are we talking about here? Bob, I love you too, man. I'm with Jimbo, but come on, man. You can beat a chick up, but you can't gamble. Sills, can we just let 26 play itself out? Hurts is ready to move. Dude, Howie Roseman is already preparing for this. Mendoza's bigger, stronger, faster, and a better thrower. All false. Mendoza's a processor. He's not faster. He's not bigger. Here, let me show you this. To show you that this guy doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. Okay? What did Dan Morgan say to me? This guy runs a 4.6. You think Fernando Mendoza runs a 4.6? He ran a 4.92. He's faster? How in God's name is he faster with a 4.92? And Sorsby ran a 4.65. Dude, I get these from the NFL. And the guy's got a power arm. Watson didn't do what they said he did. He paid them to avoid the headache of going back and forth to court. So you believe that 28 people lied in court. I could see 3 people lying. Almost 30 people? Come on, dog. Mendoza skipped the combine for a reason. In his junior year at Indiana, he ran at Pro Day a 4.92. See here. Somebody with some brains. Let's see here. Okay. I could get in a car drunk as fuck, kill someone in an accident, come back to the NFL, but I can't place a harmless bet. What a joke. Bad take, Bob. Bob, and I love you, bro. If Howie doesn't get Sorsby, he's getting a veteran quarterback. He's interested in Lamar Jackson. We're going to talk about that. Okay? Great question. I'll say Arch. I'll say Arch Manning. Arch Manning's going to go number 1 overall. Dan, real question. Is which one hurts your game more? I think gambling would hurt the sport more than these other players did because they can easily boot them. It's a business. I do think the gambling thing's an issue, Ramir. I'm not going to say it's not. It will be an issue. By the way, Ramir, put this in context. If the gambling thing weren't around the kid's name, 24 NFL teams would be giving up a first-round pick for him. Don't you want to try to get the replacement that you're going to need for Jalen Hurts after this year with a third-round pick? He's a first-round talent that can make all the throws. Sills, why do you want Jalen out? Let the 2020 knows he might be the MVP. He's not going to get better, dude. Jalen Hurts is in his 7th year. He's not going to get better. You magically think the offense is going to turn into something like what? Dude, it's not going to get better. The passing game will never get better as long as Jalen Hurts is a starting quarterback. Stop beating around the bush. It's never going to get better. In the 5 years, okay, that he's been a starter, one of them was decent. The you bias is clouding judgment. Love you, Sills, but come on, man. Mendoza's bigger and faster. Mendoza hit 20.5 miles per hour in the game. Mendoza's 6'5". Be real. My you bias? I love the kid. Follows me on Twitter. We talk all the time. I told him how bad it was that I thought Manny Diaz passed on him. And we even pulled back a preferred scholarship walk-on for him. We initially offered him a preferred walk-on scholarship, and Manny Diaz pulled it. It was egregious. He went to Columbus High, the same place that Mario Cristobal went. I know the kid really well, man. Phenomenal family. Sensational man. And I'm so proud of him, what he's accomplished. His parents were part of the Mario boat lift, lived under I-95. All of that, man. I'm biased. I love the kid. Go online. You can see he follows me on Twitter. Tremendous guy. The gambling holds a threat to him. Tampering that comes of his games directly affecting everyone. While a woman beater, I don't have to worry about the dude beating up my chick. I think the reason. What? Have you, and how did you come along with that take? If it wouldn't get better under Kellen Moore, how the heck is it going to get better under a guy who was a shit quarterback and never called the play? That's a great take. Kyle, he didn't believe in Mario's vision. I don't blame him. He went to he went to Ohio State. Okay? He went to Ohio State. So Sills, I know you wouldn't go as high as a 2 for Sorsby, but would you kill Howie if he did it? No. And if how we took him, would he be eligible for training camp in July? I believe so. I do think there could be a 2-game suspension. That there potentially could be a 2-game suspension for him as we go and we come up in the upcoming season. I do believe that. Okay. Side note then, wouldn't be absolutely sick to see Mendoza at Miami. Will you kidding me? Wish it couldn't be done, but thanks for sharing the story. Thank you, Dennis. Dennis, he's a great kid, man. He's an absolutely great kid. Everyone should agree when Hurts' wheels go, he is probably done as a starter. We haven't seen him as dynamic of a rusher in the last 2 years. Seals, go ask your people with the Chargers about Herbert getting more and Roman fired because he didn't like him. Kellen Moore won a Super Bowl with you because he had to take the football out of Jalen Hurts' hands. End of story. And by the way, something else. John McMullen said something that's correct. The worst thing ever happened was that Saquon Barkley had a 2,000-yard rushing season. The same shitty passing attack has been in place for 3 years. It's not gotten better. 23, 24, 25. It's shitty passing. Plain and simple. It's terrible passing. 29, or was it 18, 29, and 23. It's terrible passing. Get this. Took the ball out of Jalen had. Took the ball out. Jalen had because the running back had a historic year. Dumb if you don't. Bro. And has the passing game ever evolved? No. And last year, when you needed a passing game, it was nowhere. It was nowhere. Dude, back to Sorsby. This is a great way to start preparing for the inevitable. O-line sacrificed the longevity of their careers run blocking 700 times to get the Eagles a chip. And Jalen follows it up the next season by sliding if a defender was in 5 yards. Sorsby to the Bills. He can learn behind Josh Allen, and the Bills can flip him for a high draft pick in 2 years. That's a wasted pick. The Bills need more skilled people at the perimeter and maybe in the offensive line. Yeah, exactly. Horrible passing with 2 number 1 wide receivers. Horrific passing. Dude, this is why you changed everything. Barkley wasn't having that historic year until week 6 and 7. We started taking the ball out of Hurts' hands. Mikey, they'll never say that. Hey, Mikey, do you agree, Jimbo, do you agree 2024 season turned around when you were 2-2, when you took the ball out of the quarterback's hands? Where in the NFL would you ever say taking the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands or Lamar or Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Stafford or Purdy or any of those guys? Where in God's name would you ever say, let's take the ball out of our starting quarterback's hands? Nowhere would you say that. Nowhere in the NFL are they looking to replace quarterbacks like Lamar, Burrow, or any of these other guys. They're talking about contract extensions. Again, they were talking of replacing Aikman. When was that? When was that? I don't remember anybody talking about replacing Troy Aikman. When the guy was that? The fact that divisional game came down to Carter having to make a sack in the game, that Barkley ran for 200 yards is why I never want to hear anyone tell me how important Hurts was in 24. Dude, he's played really well in 3 games. 2 Super Bowls, I think the second one he was okay, and I don't think he was special. The first one he was. And I think he was pretty decent in that NFC title game, the one that Reddick got to Purdy in. It's delusional to think that a 6-year quarterback who has a one-read RPO style of passer can all of a sudden turn into a cerebral pocket quarterback. If that was the case, guys like Anthony Richardson can do it. I never thought Anthony Richardson was a very good player coming out. Get this. Horrible passing. Yes, horrible passing. Garrett took the ball out of Dak's hands when they had Zeke, but I guess you conveniently forgot that, huh? Dude, Dak Prescott is a superior quarterback to Jalen Hurts as a skill set player. You don't want to hear that. You think that dude and that stiff-arm quarterback you have is some sort of like savant in the pocket. He's as stiff as a passer. Enough of this stuff with this coddling bullshit, with this Jalen Hurts bullshit. I'm sick of it. Every time I pick up an article, somebody's talking bad about the guy, and somebody's got to go and kiss his ass. Bullshit. He's as stiff as a passer. Plain and simple. I'm sick of it. I am absolutely sick of this. Kissing his ass like this. Well, they're talking bad about me. They're doing this. They're doing that. The guy's as stiff as a passer. Face it. It's enough, man. Steve Young and Steve McNair both became great cerebral quarterbacks, so it's possible. Come on. Are you telling me you think Jalen Hurts has the skill of Steve Young? Are you crazy? Dude, I want to show you something on Steve Young that Hurts will never see in his entire freaking life. Steve Young. My God. Jalen Hurts and Steve Young now? So, when Steve Young retired, this guy led the National Football League in completion percentage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years in a row. He led the NFL in touchdown passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row. Hurts will never do that. And they took the ball from Dak and fed Zeke. Shut the fuck up, Sills, with your narratives. We're sick of that. I'm sick of you thinking that fucker's a good passer. That's what I'm sick of. He's a stiff as a passer. You know it. 87 passes across the middle of the field and 2,500 attempts. I'm sick of this shit, dude. Honest to God, man. Talking up a quarterback that's a caboose is ridiculous. Steve McNair never in his fucking career had players like AJ and Devontae. Steve McNair was a dog. He was a dog. Dude, Steve McNair was one of the toughest quarterbacks to ever play in the National Football League. Okay? While Steve Young was throwing to Jerry Rice, Steve was concussed. Check down Merchant, who ran 4.4s and was one of the best completion percentage guys. And by the way, Steve Young had Jerry Rice. Jalen Stiff Arm Hurts had 2 number 1 receivers and one of the worst passing offenses in pro football. Every year that Young was there, the 49ers were one of the top passing offenses in pro football history. Yeah, Rice and them were number 1. You're 29th. Enough with this bullshit. I'm tired of everyone kissing Hurts' ass how many coordinators is going to take before you realize Hurts is a terrible passer. Look up Dak and Zeke stats in 19. Let's do that. Let's do that. 2019. Let's see Dak Prescott, what he did. 2019. Let's see here. 19. Dak threw for 4,900 yards and 30 touchdowns and almost 600 attempts. Okay. Let's see what Ezekiel Elliott did. Zeke Elliott. See what he did in 19. 1,357 and 12 touchdowns. One guy threw for $5,000. The other guy ran for 1,400 yards. Okay. And let's see here. Steve Young actually was a real lawyer. Hurts is just a fraud plumber. Actually, Steve Young is a lawyer. You make sure you put Super Bowl champion on that stiff you practice squad veteran and don't start crying and stand on it. Okay, I'll make sure that I put it on there that he's one of the worst quarterbacks ever to win the MVP in a Super Bowl of all time. Him and Plunkett. Congratulations to you. Stiffs can win that award. Dude, he's a caboose. I'm sick of kissing his ass. It's so unbecoming. That guy has never taken accountability for anything in that entire time he's been the starting quarterback. He's never said that's on me. He never said that's me. Hey, that's my fault. Hey, I got that guy's back. Has that guy ever fucking come to anybody's aid and back to any player on that team? That's a no. He's never stood up for anybody on that football team. Like, ever. Like who? Has he ever come out and said this? That loss is on me. Has he ever said that loss is on me? Sills, I agree. Hurts is not a good pocket passer. I think he gets a bad rap for the resume he has posted thus far at 27. It's a business. It's obvious. The Eagles are done. He will find another team. Of course he will. That's a good point. 23 collapse. All the attention was at firing Nick and getting a new coordinator. Or last year even. You keep telling me about Josh Allen getting the head coach fired. Jalen Hurts got Kevin Patullo fired, did he? Or not? Or what's that narrative? Did Jalen Hurts get Kevin Patullo fired? Yes or no? You guys come up with this bullshit that Kevin Patullo was bad. But it wasn't on Hurts at all, right? He didn't get him fired. He didn't get that coordinator fired, right? You make an excuse that Kevin Patullo was bad. Okay. How pathetic. So pathetic. So if Jalen goes to another team and succeeds, I guess the Nick Riders are going to have another excuse. Jalen is a damn enigma. Can have some elite games and then some games that blow. He needs to raise his floor as a passer. That's a great take. Where's that other one here? Okay, let me see here. Sills, you said here. Sills, you even said Petula was ass. Yeah, because he's the first-year play caller. Just as Sean Mannion will be ass. You guys are expecting that guy to be 10 times better than Kevin Petullo, and he's the same guy. You're high. He's the same guy. Man, again, you're making it up. If you think that guy's going to become a play caller, and all of a sudden, that guy is just going to do what? He's going to be what? Better than Kevin Petullo? Like, based on what? Your hopes and dreams? I expect 8 to 10 wins with a first or second playoff loss. Maybe no playoffs at all. I don't think it can get worse than Petullo. I mean, in gameplay calling, not what he draws on the chalkboard. Dude, this is going to come down to game day situation. Why would he be better? Thanks for the super, dude. One of the worst practice squad DTs. Your only highlight is a picture of you and Dallas Cowboy Daisy Dukes. Bye, Sills. I'm going to get back to work. Have a good one. No problem, dude. Can't take the truth? You should go back to work. People are forgetting that a guy who used to play quarterback in the league is going to have less patience for a practice quarterback that struggles to grasp basic concepts. If that's the case, though, remember, Frank Wright was a backup quarterback, and he engineered one of the best offensive game plans of all time. Okay? Let's see here. That shit, by the way, that stuff that Marshall posts, that don't bug me, man. It really doesn't. It's a badge of honor. None of you in here can say that. Ever. Early in his career, Mannion was seen to have the potential to grow into a good play caller. Where did you get that from? He's never been a play caller. Early in his career, Mannion was seen to have the potential to grow into being a good play caller. Based on what? Nobody saw that for Petullo until his homeboy handed him the job. Fangio will save 26 with the number one defense in the NFL. All the offense will need to do is average 21 points a game. Howie has had some great drafts lately, but one of his best decisions will be to not extend Hurts and move on to a true pocket passer. 1,000%. It's time to move on. 26 will be the end. Dude, there is no doubt by the end of the 2026 season, everything will play itself out here. I'm completely convinced of it. It's over. Dan, all these people don't operate off the facts. It's pure emotion and defensiveness. Correct. Samuel, this is why, for me, I'm not emotional like this. I'm not. There you go, crying. You too big for that. I'm not crying about nothing, dude. I appreciate you, dude. You can call me any name you want. Doesn't matter to me. And I love the hell out of you. You got me not crying. Dude, I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm all good. I would never want to be anything else but me. I've never dreamed of anything else other than what I've done. I'm good. Cannot have a number one defense with the 25th ranked offense. That offense plays and affects the defense over time. It sure does. This is a cult. Y'all listening to Sills, who says he doesn't even like the Eagles. I don't. I love their fan base. That's why I can be objective. I don't sit around on my knees talking about the Eagles. Okay? Nah, Sills is lying. He wants to be hurt. No. I don't want to be anything with that. I'll take his bank account. Sills, you're just mad that Jalen has had 100 times the career that you. Really? I'm a talk show host for the last 35 years, guy. I haven't thought about football being a player in a long time. I've been a talk show host for 35 years. What do you think? I just got done playing ball 2 years ago? I mean, I've 35 years I've been a talk show host. I'm upset about what? Something that happened 40 years ago? Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. How can he say you're crying yet he's the one getting personal over an argument? He's been losing for 2 years. Stupidity, man. It's a funny thing. Yeah, Marshall is. Hey, I'm not going to get personal with Marshall. I love the guy. He wants to talk shit to me because his boy's a stiff in the pocket. That's his call. I'm not going to judge him any other way. He walks around on his knees for Hurts. That'll end, though, by the end of the year. It'll end. It's okay. It's coming to an end. You know, the fact is, most of you know it. Most of you know it. And you just don't want to admit it. Let's see here. Here's a good one. Get Seth on the show. No. Seth only comes on shows that you pay him for. His friendship is built on how you pay people. I love Seth, but if you're not paying him, he's not your friend. Okay? Sills, what of Joe Theismann in his prime? Joe Theismann's a heck of a player, man. Marshall is the one crying, hurts his tears. When Hurts is benched for Andy Dalton in week 7, we will see what those stunads say. Jalen Hurts not going anywhere because our owner loves him. Your owner loves winning his way. He will turn on him the same way he turned on Carson Wentz. Dude, every owner turns on their players, no matter who you are. Jeffrey Lurie turned on Doug Peterson, who won him a Super Bowl. If Jeffrey Lurie can turn on Doug Peterson, he can turn on Jalen Hurts. James, it's called support. I love the show. I love Marsh, man. Ballers support what they want. Chumps play in the background like you doing now, so you got your attention you wanted. Dude, Marsh is a very big-time supporter of the program, and he is always welcomed here. And he is allowed to say anything he wants, and he knows that me and him will go back and forth. I got no problem with him, man. Zero problems. We're boys, man. I'd sit down and have a beer, and we'd sit there, and you know what we'd be doing at the barbershop? We'd be talking shit to one another. He knows that. So on another note, Jalen Brunson mostly left Dallas because he wants to go back to the Northeast where he grew up. And his dad was a coach on the Knicks. I love the Northeast too, dude. Hey, by the way, I know all you guys are in here talking about Jeffrey Lurie loving Jalen Hurts. He loved Doug Peterson and turned his back on him. He turned his back on him. And Doug delivered an NFL championship in the most insane way. I mean, Doug Peterson, you could make that year a movie in how they won the Super Bowl. That was one of the most iconic runs in NFL history and in coaching in what he did that year. You lose the MVP. They put a backup quarterback in. 2 backup coaches orchestrate a game plan to win the Super Bowl against Tom Brady and Belichick. That shit's for Hollywood. That's Hollywood stuff. And the owner fired his ass. Shit, get this. The owner fired Andy Reid, who put the whole thing together. Oh, but I love Hurts. No, they don't. Owners and GMs fall in like with their guys, never in love. Because one day you got to fire these guys. Give me a break, dude. Love these guys. Lurie and Howie will turn their back on anybody. Everybody's beneath them on the Eagles. Doug got booted for wanting more control partially, and Sirianni is a perfect coach who will never, ever question that. Correct. Sills, in all honesty, I'm a Hurts fan, but regardless, if he's here or not, I'm just glad he had the success here, and hopefully the next Eagle quarterback does the same. Dude, you see, you got an NFL mentality, not a college mentality. Hey, actually, you got the college mentality and not a fanboy. You're not a fanboy. You're an Eagle fan. That's the way you should look at your NFL teams, the way Donnell looks at his team. I don't give a shit who's wearing Eagle green. Go win. Am I right, Donnell? You don't give a shit who's wearing it. You give a shit about the Eagles. Donnell, am I reading you right? I don't want to put words in your mouth. You don't give a shit who wears the uniform. Go win. That's how you look at it. Thanks, Marsh. Big support of the program. Mikey Shredge, you want to go super for super? We get some major support since you want to go back and forth and see who stops first. I'll go first and quadruple your little $5, son. Marsh, all good, man. Who gives a shit what team you support? It's all about having fun. Me personally, I thought the best playoff run was the 25 Steelers. Prior to that, no number 6 seeded ever won 3 playoff games and won the Super Bowl. Was that the Tebow year? That 05? Sills, if there was one era you had to recruit as a scout, Northeast or South, I'd take the South. Best players in the country are in the South. I would take the South. Northeast, man, I'll tell you what, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Jersey. Listen, there's no way. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, the PA area, or the Philly area, West Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Ohio, Eastern PA, or Eastern Ohio. All those places are fabulous in recruiting. Okay? You've been saying the same BS about Jalen since your first show, December 1st, 2022. By the way, that's not my first show. My first show was actually April 23, 2021, 2 days before the NFL draft, yelling dual threat and saying that kind of quarterback won't win a Super Bowl. Wrong. No, you're right. I didn't think Sam Darnold would win a Super Bowl too. However, what I have said is this, and I said it on my first show, this style of play is not long lasting and won't last long. And the Eagles know that. And by the way, he went for a nice ride in 24. 2,900 yards and 18 touchdowns. What a freaking insane year he had. Seals, shit, if a recruiter can only recruit the top talent in Florida, it'd be a dynasty in 4 or 5 years. Correct. Damn right, Seals. I even support Mark Sanchez when he was our starting quarterback in 15. I just want to win. Bro, that's the way you look at it, NFL. That's it. You fall in love with your players, those guys are going to come and go, dude. Now, Sills, if we move on from Hurts, are we going to be okay with that being called a rebuild season? Dude. Oh, my God. No, I don't. Damn, Marsh. Marsh, you don't have to do this, man, but it's thankful. Thank you. Catch up, little Mikey. LFG. Fly, Eagles, fly. Jalenites unite. This guy makes it hard on me, man. He does. Marshall makes it hard on me, man. Oh, man. Marshall, man, you're good people, man. You know how I know he's a real sports fan? He gives me more shit than anybody I know. Still supports the channel, and that's a good guy, man. Marsh, you're good people, man. You are. You're good people, dude. This guy talks so much shit on me. And he gets all under me, man. He does. And don't start crying. He's like this. Don't start crying, Sileo. Fucking crazy. Sills, it seems like Jalen hasn't had many decent passing games since the 49er game in 23. Actually, I don't think he's had really a great passing game. I thought the Minnesota game was good. When Joey Bosa said they put out the blueprint on him for the league. You mean Nick Bosa said that, I think. Mike ran for the hills, for the kills, to gather his shekels. Let's see here. True Eagle fans remember the bullshit we had to deal with after McNabb. The Hurts era is sunshine and rainbows compared to then. And we have a Super Bowl to show for it. Yeah, I know. Nick Foles delivered you a really great one in a spectacular performance. Are you one of those guys who doesn't go to the strip club for the atmosphere, but to compete with other men throwing money? Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. I don't think Marsh goes to a strip club talking to other men. I don't think so. Getting rid of a Super Bowl MVP winner in his prime is stupid. Dude, the Seattle Seahawks let the Super Bowl MVP walk out their door and didn't even offer him a contract. They let Kenneth Walker just walk out the building. They didn't give a shit he was a Super Bowl MVP. That thing is so overrated. Not the Super Bowl championship. The MVP award they gave him, so overrated. 2,900 yards and 18 touchdowns. Guys like Marino, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Manning would put those numbers up in 6 weeks. Let me get to another topic here. This is too much. So I listen here. So Brandon Sorsby, what would be the most you would surrender for him? Third round. I bet you the Eagles put up a bid for him. I bet you they put up a bid for him. Some of the best decisions in football is knowing when to move on. One of the things that made Belichick great, you are 1,000%. Okay? You are 1,000% correct. Knowing when to move on. That's right. See this here? Pointless topic. We have an MVP candidate quarterback. Jalen Hurts will not be the starting quarterback in 2027. The irony of Hurts being supplanted by a second-round pick would be great content. Okay? If we get rid of Hurts anytime soon, us fans, 40 plus, remember those dark ages. Tiki Barber's undefeated against us in his whole career for starters. All y'all content creators would be doomed too. What are you talking about? I got 2 other shows. Content? Kidding me? According to the NFL Insider, Jason Leconfora, the 49ers are expected to release Brandon Ayuk before the start of training camp. Shocked Eagle fans don't want him. Let's see here. You won a Super Bowl without Hurts. Yeah. So let's go to the second one here. And I do want to go to that annoying article in Bleeding Green. I do want to go to that. How many people truly believe that the organization is all in on Hurts? I don't believe it. All in is giving him a contract and being public and saying, we would never think of moving off of Jalen Hurts. Has anybody come out and said that? The conversation about why doesn't anybody in the pit that every week they talk to Nick Sirianni, why don't they ask that question? You know, there's a lot of stories out there, guys. How about this? How many stories? Let's count. How many stories and see if this, John McMullen would say that this is a fucking stupid question. Let's ask this question. How many national stories talk about Jalen Hurts being at the crossroads for the 26th season? How many articles? Let's put out after 26. That's the stories about Jalen Hurts being replaced as the Eagle quarterback. One, two, 3, 4. Shit, there's just an article that was done yesterday about the Eagles looking at Lamar Jackson to replace him. Who wrote this thing? We're going to get to that, by the way, about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson replacement? Who wrote this? Lamar Jackson replacement for Hurts. Jason Lankenfor suggested that Jalen Hurts struggles. Howie Roseman could pursue Lamar Jackson as an upgrade for the 27 season because Jackson is under contract through 27. Acquiring him would require a massive trade. The situation reports indicate Hurts is entering a prove-it period where he needs to evaluate his play under the new offensive coordinator, Sean Mannion, and that the Eagles would be interested in trading for Lamar Jackson. This came out yesterday. To be fair, he don't got to have the offense in the top 10 and super dominant. Just good enough not to lose the game with the defense carrying. Okay? So I have a question. Carter has all the talent and all the upside in the world. What the hell is the problem not capitalizing on the opportunity? Dude, sometimes guys just don't get there. And it's a shame. Sometimes guys just don't get there. And he's in a prove-it year. He's in a total prove-it year, dude. Seals, where are you getting these dumb statements from? The Eagles are not trading. Okay, I just told you where I got it from. Jason Lankenfor from CBS just wrote this. He just wrote this article. Here. Michael Gallagher, Eagles linked to former MVP. When was this? Yesterday. To replace Jalen Hurts. Few argue that Jalen Hurts is entering the 2026 on the hot seat. The Eagles got rid of one distraction in wide receiver A.J. Brown, who was traded to the Patriots on June 1st. And some believe that Hurts could be on his way out if he fails to deliver a long playoff run in 26. It doesn't help his case that 5 anonymous sources close to the Eagles admitted to ESPN over the summer that the team essentially blamed Hurts for most of the team's shortcomings last year. Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio even reported that Hurts could be traded next offseason if he fails to find his post-2022 form when he threw for 3,701 and 22 touchdowns. The team's interest in potentially moving on from Hurts could improve more this offseason, says NFL insider Jason Lankenfor. The Eagles questionably are willing to do things perhaps other regimes might view as overly aggressive or cutthroat to accomplishment, Lankenfor wrote yesterday. While Hurts has delivered repeatedly in huge playoff spots, including the Super Bowl, the offense has been oscillating wildly in other years. Hurts has been unwilling to make big-time throws and push the ball into traffic, which has confounded some locker room issues. It's led to a strong case around the league that, as difficult as it can be to find a caliber quarterback who can win in the big postseason, the Eagles will be willing to do whatever possible. There's a chance that they would go after two-time NFL MVP Lamar Jackson. I didn't even write this fucking thing. And it's the shit we've been saying. Who's writing these? You're not listening and reading. You're so in a rabbit hole, you don't hear people what they're saying. This is all over the league, dude. You're the only people that are in a jar. The only people. It's pretty clear in the initial ESPN reports of people close to the team could see the team moving on next year. In my opinion, those are pretty obviously leaked by the front office to proactively start this. Completely agree. Can you text Clint Hurt if this is true? I can't go down that lane. It's the only thing I won't do. I don't want to say what Clint's saying about Jalen Carter. Guys, do you know who represents Clint Hurt? Do I have to tell you? He gave up on Drew. He's got Kennard McGuire, who he's represented by. So he's not represented by Rosen. He was represented by Rosenhaus when he was in Seattle. No, I was referring to the Lamar talks. Yeah, who wouldn't want Lamar? These reports are a waste of time. The only thing that should matter is trying to succeed this year. And it hurts earning an extension. Talking about an alternative should wait until he fails. That's not a bad thing here. Okay? This is a true comment here. The offseason is getting crazier and crazier as we get closer and closer to the season. Okay? Hey, I'm Reyes. You want to bet Lamar Jackson goes to the Pro Football Hall of Fame and Hurts doesn't? Get back to me in 7 years. We'll see who's going to the Hall of Fame. I promise you, it won't be Hurts. By the way, we'll ask Jason Cole at 5:30 that question. He's a voter. Fair enough? Is that fair enough? We'll ask a Hall of Fame voter who's one of the Hall of Fame voters. We want wins. We don't give a shit about Hall of Fame bullshit right now. Oh. How about I just ask him who's a better football player then? J-Mac said there are players that don't care about getting paid. Mulata, Smitty. Does that mean their agent doesn't pursue extensions for them? Let me hook you up on something. Let me show you something here. I'm going to show you something. Here, let me show you this. Okay. Okay. Let me go here and bring this up for you here. All right. Okay. Here's my NFL Players Association card. Right there. Expires 3/10/2027. I have to renew it every year. It says former player, NFLPA member. My membership card. Right there. That's my NFL Players Association card. Do you know what the number one objective for an agent is? Every year we get a sheet with the players that are paid in front of us. And you know what the number one job is for an agent? To get that guy more money than the next guy. Because you do a disservice to the guy that's coming up next to get paid. The number one job for an agent is to, I'll tell you what, bro, That's a card you'll never fucking in your life see. And every objective, okay? Every objective is to get more money. Every objective is to get more money for the next guy. That's right. That's why they call it pave the way for the next guy. And that's why these quarterbacks are making the money they make. To sit there and say that your agent doesn't work to get you more money is insane. These riders are throwing shit at the wall, hoping something sticks for clicks. They have no legit sources, just their stupid thoughts. Their sources are Bob Lang, dude. Sills, take a screen. Why, you can't see that? Let's see here. Let's see if I could get a better picture of that. It's pretty cool. 16,000 men. 16,000 men have that card. There it is right there. That's a little better picture. Former player. There's my number. Expires in 27. Big Sills. Right there. NFL players card. Rares, you got one? Let's see here. I'm not going to use it. No. By the way, it's on my Twitter page. At Dan Sileo Show, Pietis. You can go over there. It's over there right now. Okay? And you can see it right there. I think it's there. Is it? My NFLPA card is there. Yeah. My NFL Players Association card. I posted it because, let me see here. There it is. So it's on my Twitter page. So some people's thought process is crazy. I don't think that they are saying they must be making it up. NFL Players Union is why families can't afford to go to NFL games now. Hoss, we have the worst union in pro football history. Not sure what you're talking about. I'm at TCU College right now and projected to go in the 4th round. My career will be 10 times better than Dan's. Really? You're projected to go in the 4th round. Good luck to you, kid. I hear that all the time. I'm projected to go. I'm sitting at TCU. Good luck. More power to you, and I hope you have a great career. We'll see if you get drafted, kid. We'll see. How many? That's a great take. How many people have ever been drafted in the NFL draft? How many people have ever been drafted in the NFL draft? Let's see. All time. In 107 years. Since 1936, 26,000 men have been drafted in over 100 years. Good luck to you, kid. Sills, how can you hate on a quarterback like Jalen? He's a leader. I'm not hating. It's time to move on. I never thought he was a skilled quarterback. I thought he was a really good quarterback and a good player for what they were doing. He's not like the rest of these guys, dude. He's the kind of guy you root for. Bro, rooting for? I don't root for players. I don't root for anything like that. Is he good or is he not? Let's see here. Is it the agent's job to have them go to a good situation? You can't control that unless it's a free agent or a trade kind of stuff. When you come out of college, unless you're an undrafted free agent, is the only place you get to choose. When you come out of college, I didn't have a choice but to go to the shittiest team in the NFL, the Bucks. When you're a good player coming out of college, you go to shitty teams. You think I would have picked the Bucks? I would have picked the 49ers or the Steelers or something that had a stable environment. I got drafted to the shittiest. I was the first player taken, I think, the 1988 NFL draft. I think I was the first or second player taken. Because the supplemental draft, you have to apply that pick the following year. 1988 NFL draft. I think I had to, let's see here. I believe I was the first player taken. I think I was the first player taken in the third round. Let's see here. I believe I was. Let's see here. Yeah. I was the second player taken in the third round. Again, there was only 28 players or only 28 teams then that were in the league at the time. Josh Allen, you definitely root for him. It's all good, though. I root for Josh Allen. I don't ever say, I hope Josh Allen wins that game. You've never heard me say that. You've actually never heard me say that about any player. I hope he wins that game. I've never said that. You have never heard. Sue, you heard me say, I hope he wins it? When? I said he's a great fucking player. You can't control winning games. Your defense might give up. The quarterback might throw a pick. You have no way of saying that. It's a team sport. You could have a special teams disaster. That doesn't mean I said that I hope he wins a game. You've never heard that. Show me where I said it. When was that? I hope Josh Allen wins that game. Have you ever heard me say that, like, ever about a player? I hope he wins that game. I said, I hope the Bills make the play. I hope the Bills make the Super Bowl. I never said, I hope he wins that game. Him. It's a team sport. Go get it, dude. Post it. Post that video where I said, I hope a player wins a game. There's no way on the planet, dude. You give me that receipt. I want to see it. You'll never find it. I've never said that. Show me. Seals, it's getting time of the year that coaches are praying that their players don't do something stupid, right? Because, like, I think the Buccaneers and their okay. No. Look at this. Saying you denied. I never said I fucking denied saying how great a player he was. I never said that. I didn't say that. He is a great player. That doesn't mean I said I hope he wins this game. I hope Justin Herbert wins the MVP. You never heard me say, I hope Justin Herbert wins this game. I've never said that. Sue, prove it. Show me. where I said that. Posted on my Twitter page where I said, I hope this player wins a game. Go at it, kid. Knock yourself out. Still stop. That we heard you say that several times, bro. You heard me say, I hope Josh Allen wins this game. You're going to have to show me that because I don't root for players to win a game. You're hearing that I talk about players that I know are greater than your boy, and he's a great player. The guy's a great talent. Dak's a better thrower than Jalen. You've never, bro, there's no place in God's name where you'll find that. Go find it. There's no place where you hear me say, I hope that guy wins that game. If Mahomes now is $64 million, and when Hurts leaves the Eagles, what organization will pay him the money that the Eagles refuse? Nobody on the planet is going to say that and give Jalen Hurts $65 million. For that skill, that's the problem he's falling into. Okay? Let's see. Because you criticize the weakness of a team, not the strength. That's such an easy question. Let's see here. I can't wait until Jalen takes his sack glazers out of town with him. We can get back to and up to high level football discussions. Last time I was in Buffalo, I saw Dan in Josh Allen jersey, blackout drunk, doing a backflip for 15 feet into a table, screaming, I hope Josh Allen wins. This guy. I couldn't do a backflip. I know these people think I root for players. My wife does. She roots for players. I don't root for players to win ball games. It's a team sport. I sit around. I hope this guy wins. Are you dumb? It's the ultimate team sport. Sitting around. Hey. I hope this guy wins. What do you think? I'm Reyes? Hey, right. Hey, I hope everything goes well this week. Jesus criminy. I mean, got to be kidding me. Backflips. And a long time ago. If the Cowboys extend Dak in 2 years, do you think he'll eclipse Mahomes in salary? I do not believe that Dak Prescott's going to get a next contract that's going to double Mahomes. Okay? Dude, are they not? Jalen Lights love them some Hurts. God damn, I've never seen shit like this. Oh, my God. Hey. And by the way, that Bleeding Green article is exactly true. The ass-kissing that goes on in that city is absurd. Donovan McNabb got his ass handed to him in that city. He was destroyed. And McNabb was a good player. Donovan McNabb, the only part of him that sucked was his pettiness. He was just a petty guy. If there's a fan base that deserves a Super Bowl, it's Buffalo. Boy, I'll say. Yes. Hurts is a better leader, though. Sorry, I guess I misinterpreted the glazing for rooting. Right. Did you see Josh Allen? Whoa, what a player, which you have said many times. Absolutely, and I'll say it again, spectacular talent. Absolutely said that. Yeah, you think because somebody talks highly about a guy's skill set, you think you're rooting for them to win a game. That's impossible. One guy can't win a game. It's the NFL, dude. Seals, how do you feel about the safety position with the Birds? It's probably the weakest part of the defense, but I'm actually comfortable with Nakuba and Epps. You're insulated. Woolen looks like he might be somebody this year special. Cooper and with Q and the linebacker play is going to be essential to covering up the loss of Gardner Johnson and Blankenship over the last 2 years. You've downgraded at safety from Blankenship and Gardner Johnson in the last 2 years. You've downgraded. So, and your linebacking core, we'll see if you've upgraded with Campbell. I think you may. Bond, I think he's going to be the same guy, but I think you're a little more insulated in the secondary at two corners and the nickel. Okay? And in base, you're going to have DeJean playing in base. So we'll see. I think Makuba's too small. Jalenites are the flies that buzz around your head at the barbecue and land their dog poop feet in your potato salad. Oh, good, bro. So funny that some of the fans in the chat every day can't stand that Sills keeps emotions out of his takes. He's a fan of the NFL, not a team. That's correct. Okay. Sills, are the Eagles winning the Super Bowl? Bro, you ain't winning 9 games. Let's see here. Seals, will Jalen be a starter anywhere in 4 years when the legs are not there? No. The last time I fell in love with a player was Carson Wentz. I was young. I think Zander's stuck. I think he's frozen. I don't think he's – are you frozen, Z? Yeah, he's frozen. Let's see here. Him being a dog has nothing to do with it. All right. Without further ado, this is going to be a honey. Boy, I heard Big Z going over all these emotional topics this morning with John McMullen, man. McMullen was, hey, by the way, it's got to be my delivery. Because John was saying the same shit we were saying. I just think I say it nastier. I don't know. I'll tell you what, I hope, let's just say this. I hope Zander's focused on my questions today. That's all I'm saying. Without further ado, my friend, Big Z, Zander Krause joins us now.
What's up, Sills?
How you doing, bro?
I'm good. What do you mean focus on your questions?
Yeah, because you got a lot of shit on your mind, man.
I'm good. I'm ready. I'm ready to hear your questions.
I thought
I might go Big Marsh on you today because I took John to the woodshed earlier today. I might have to take you to the woodshed too.
Can't wait to hear how you're going to do that with that stiff arm quarterback.
In fact, you're paying rent at the woodshed. You've been there so much this offseason.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
We will find out in 26.
Yeah.
Because get this, you know what he says woodshed? He says woodshed from a guy who's a play caller that's never been a fucking play caller, and he's Kevin Patullo's cousin. All right, we'll find out how that works out.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see about Mannion. I think that's fair.
How about this, bro? All kidding aside, Brandon Sorsby, would you put a 3rd round supplemental pick on him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about the player, to be honest with you, but if they feel as though he's a worthy talent, then I don't see why you don't. I mean, this is a team that's prided themselves on getting quarterbacks. You know, they've called themselves the quarterback factory. I think it makes sense if they feel the player is worthy. I read his scouting report this morning. I mean, sounded like the dude was like, 6'3". He's got a great arm, layered throws with anticipation. I'm like, all right. I mean, let's see what the guy can do. But I don't know. I mean, do you look past all the
I know.
all the gambling stuff? The Eagles have looked past worse before, but seems to be a lot. It's not just like, all right, there's a little bit
No.
here and there. It seems to be a lot. So it is what it is with that. But I think they could take a shot, Sills, especially if it's a third rounder. I think it'll be more of a second rounder based on the way that people are talking about him. But I think a third rounder would make a lot of sense. I mean, look, it boils down to this. If you think he's worthy of a first round talent, why would you not? Because then it just becomes a value proposition.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I mean, look, we talked about this before when I debated Sileo on a 27 versus 28 first for A.J. Brown. You get tools in the chest. You get value assets in the chest. If you feel as though that player is worth more than that and you can get him for a second or a third, then it makes some sense. I mean, I also think that there is some uncertainty right now. Tanner McKee's in the last year of his deal. I don't think the dude they draft is going to be worth a damn. And Andy Dalton's here for 1 year. So even if he doesn't turn into the starter, do you get a guy that could be your backup for the next 4 years? That
With
makes
value.
sense. Is that what it would be with a supplemental 4-year deal? Same thing?
Yeah, with value though. With value, like
Yeah, with value, right? I mean,
he's here. Let me read.
I'm concerned about Jalen from a sense of dual threat quarterbacks. The first thing they lose is their legs. So what does Jalen? I think Curtis brought up a point. I mean, that everybody will take it, of course, as Jalen hate because the buttercups in this family. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I mean, you can't even have a real conversation about the player.
It's like green.
It's like any player that sells. I could talk about Saquon Barkley. He does things great. There's things he doesn't do so great. I could talk about Devontae Smith. There's things he does great. There's things he doesn't do so great. You talk about Jalen Hurts, you say one thing he doesn't do so great. It's like they get their panties in a bind. Man. But, I think it's a fair point that Curtis brought up of when you have a dual threat player, how does that age? What is this? Jalen's getting closer to 30 years old. What does that look like at 31, 32 years old? Might not look so good. So I think we got to figure all that out, and maybe it's a worthy shot with Sorsby.
I said this like April 23rd, 2001. If you remember right, Zander, you were producing the show. It was one of my first shows. I said, if you put Jalen Hurts in there as a starting quarterback, folks, this is not going to be a high window. This is not going to be like a 13, 14-year career. This is going to be like 8 years of some pretty good ball. And then it's going to get to a point. I heard John say this, and he's dead on with this. Dude, if you think that guy's going to morph into some sort of passing guy in the next 2 years, and he's going to revolutionize how you look at him and transform how you see him as a passer, you're fucking high. He's not. He's not going to do that.
There is like a, I'm not disagreeing with your point, but there is a leash. I don't know if that's the right word, but that should be given where a player can evolve, right? Like an evolutionary.
If he has the skill set, yes, he's never demonstrated that.
Well, I mean, he didn't throw the ball horribly in 22 and 23.
Okay. 23 with the turnovers and the volume of uptick throws.
Well, remember, Sills, I just want to point out, again, he had a lot of turnovers.
There were 21 of them.
They had the 31st ranked defense in pro football. Again, Dak Prescott, we give a lot of credit to Dak Prescott. How many turnovers did Dak have last year?
I saw Joe Burrow have 43 touchdowns with the 32nd ranked defense.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to compare him to Joe Burrow, then yeah, I mean,
he's being paid like Joe Burrow.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that doesn't mean that he's the same caliber of player. That's Brock Purdy's paid like Joe Burrow.
His skill set is not one of those guys.
That's fair to say. I don't disagree with that, but I'm just saying I can't sit here and say that we've never seen anything redeemable from Jalen throwing the football. I don't think that's fair.
Consistency's
been an issue. That's true.
Consistently, the offensive passing game has been bottom 10. Do you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you would take a shot at him then?
I mean, I think if the Eagles' evaluation checks out, then yeah, I would. Again, I don't know enough about the player. Like, I didn't watch him a whole lot. I've seen some of his clips, and I looked up a little bit after the show this morning. But if they feel as though he's a worthy dart, then absolutely you take that shot. There's a lot of uncertainty right now with the future of the quarterback position. I mean, again, for all the Jalen people who don't want to hear anything, I would just urge you to just have the conversations. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to turn on him. It's just having the convo. He's got $20 million of guaranteed money left going into not this season, but next season. So if he doesn't play good enough, beyond a shadow of a doubt to earn that next contract, these conversations are going to be top of the lineup the entirety of next offseason. So they are right around the corner. This isn't a 3 year away thing. This is right here. Jalen has to go and seize the moment this year, or else, the end could be right here.
I heard you say that, and I completely agree with you. And people don't want to hear that. Again, I think people don't have the mentality that they need to have when you're talking about a football team. Root for your Eagles, dude. Fall in like with your players, not in love with your players, because they're interchangeable.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some element to, Jalen's been the quarterback during an extremely impressive era of Eagles football. Even if somebody thinks it's not all him and it's Howie or the defense or Saquon or whatever the case may be, there is an attachment to that, right? Yes. And I think that's fair because being a fan is an emotional thing, and they've seen their team win a lot of games with him at quarterback. So it's like one of those things where somebody over here tells me he's not good enough. Meanwhile, every Sunday I turn on my team and they win at a 70% clip. I think that's a fair thing for somebody to juggle and to try and reason with. But at the end of the day, if you feel as though the offense wasn't good enough last year and that's the reason that they were bounced and didn't go the distance or didn't go as far as you thought they should go, well then, the quarterback has to be in that discussion.
This bleeding green, I actually went back and read the entire article. You think Jalen Hurts takes accountability?
I think there's moments he's taken accountability. There's moments he hasn't, but I've heard him say in his press conferences, it starts with me. I got to be better. And I've heard that many a time. So, John this morning was like, he never takes, I don't think that's true. I mean, I've heard him with my own 2 ears at the podium say, I have to be better. Now, maybe behind the scenes, there's more finger pointing than I'm aware of. There is that Seahawk game a few years back that Jalen still has never taken accountability for. Both A.J. Brown and Nick Sirianni fell on that sword for him. So I think there's some truth to it, but I don't think it's as overwhelming as he never takes accountability. I think that's an unfair statement.
Can I ask you something that I thought that people glazed over and didn't really have a more of a conversation on? When he was asked that question about did he call that for Verts and he say no? If you're really being a team guy, don't you say this? We all made that decision. It was our decision. Or don't you say this? I'm the quarterback. I had to make the play.
Yeah, I think both of the two options you just gave were better than what he said.
No, it was him.
Yeah, I agree with that. Even if it wasn't him.
Even if it wasn't.
Right. There's a method to that madness, that leadership. I agree with that.
Because
I'm not going to kill him for it, but I mean, I agree.
No, but I think that just goes along with what people have built up a little narrative on with him. I mean, like John.
Well, maybe that was his way because the story that's come out with Joe that you just referenced on Bleeding Green Nation. Maybe Jalen is feeling some of that. Maybe that's not all agent driven. All right, nobody else is going to defend me, so I'm going to have to defend myself. Now that's a slippery slope because then you get into a territory where everybody defends themselves instead of putting the collective first. That Jalen,
you're grabbing a life preserver. You're not grabbing a team preserver.
And Jalen consistently talks about the collective. So you got to make sure you put that first. But yeah, I could see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, I didn't like that answer. No, he did it. I mean, dude, I've heard Mahomes fall on his sword.
Well, he didn't say he did it. He said, I didn't do it.
I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't.
Okay. Oh, you're right. I interpreted he did it. That's how big
Sileo will always spin it. He'll always put a little English on it to make it sound a little worse.
Yeah, you got to back it up to the whole dog. Remember that. How you doing? What about this out here? You know what? I have never had Mike Silver on, and I'm dear friends with the guy, and I love him. Me and him used to be when I was on KMBR 68 out in San Francisco. He was the 49er guy, and I was the Raider guy, and we used to go back and forth. And I love Mike Silver. What'd you make of that article about him? What was the thing in there?
I mean, I thought it was a pretty stupid article. He's writing about Nick Sirianni's like interview and his first press conference. I'm like, dude, I don't really give a shit about that anymore. Like, I know Nick Sirianni is an emotional guy. What's your point?
Always 4th and 1. What did that mean? What did that mean in that article? Like everything around Philadelphia with Nick is 4th and 1.
Well, I guess it means it's high stakes, trying to thread the needle.
Okay, well, let me ask you something here with that. And I like that take, actually, that Mike threw in there. Do you think there's pressure on Dave Roberts to win the World Series every year with the Los Angeles Dodgers with a $400 million payroll?
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah.
Every year they want to fire his ass.
He's done pretty good, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, but every year they want to fire his ass because of some of the pitching decisions that he's made, and he's won 2 in a row. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying here?
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Isn't that where Nick is?
Well, to some extent. I mean, I think Nick is a more unique guy. I think he's a more unique coach just from a sense of, people don't really see it with him. And I think he gives a lot of ammo for people who don't see it with him. I think all in all, I mean, the most impressive part about Nick to me is winning at the clip he's winning at when you really don't have the ability to run a traditional offense. So everybody, loves to give credit to Saquon and Howie, but there is a challenge when you're a quarterback and it's like, all right, you can't run what most people run. You can't throw the ball like that. You have to figure out other ways to win, whether it be defense, running game, RPO, whatever the case may be. That's coaching. That's good coaching. Now maybe it's you put it more on the coordinators, but he still is the head coach of the team. So I think that's impressive for Nick, or at least is a check in his box that, people don't give him credit because they're Jalenites. So they don't believe that Nick is having to overcome anything by winning with that style of offense. That's just not true. He is overcoming stuff. He does have to play a certain brand of football. He cannot, run a traditional passing offense. He has been limited in terms of running play action and under center. He doesn't like motion with the quarterback. I mean, a lot of these things that a lot of these other coordinators are doing to give their teams a clear advantage, they haven't been able to run in Philly. So Nick, with all of that, has been able to, bake a cake. It might be an ugly freaking cake, but it tastes good.
How come no one respects him then outside the organization?
Well, I think that's partly his personality. He's a lightning rod kind of guy. And, like you've ragged on him for it a lot. And I've ragged on him. Bothers me that he can't be an adult in moments. Like, dude, you're the head coach of a team. Get your emotions together. You have a job to do. You have an obligation. And Jalen is a lot more so the adult in that relationship. Yeah, which I think
way more the adult.
100%. So I think that's what it is. But, again, if you're
I think he's too emotional to be the head coach of a football team.
Yeah, I mean, you could think that, Sills, but the results would dictate otherwise, that he's too emotional to be the head coach.
Okay.
What evidence do you have that would say, yes, you're correct, he is too emotional?
Here, I think Doug Peterson's a better coach than that guy.
Okay, well, Nick's been more successful than him.
Okay, Nick's been more successful. Do you really believe that they put the talent around Doug that they've put around Nick?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No, they haven't.
So Doug did more with less. Do you not agree?
Well, he didn't do more with less. He did less with less. He had nowhere near the win
He
percentage.
did more by winning more with the Super Bowl with lesser players.
He won a Super Bowl, but in his 5-year tenure, he did significantly less than Nick Sirianni. That's a fact.
What with lesser talent?
Yeah, but I'm saying you said he did more with less. He did
more with lesser. He did more by winning more with less.
Wait. Sills,
wait. We're talking. Wait.
They both have one Super Bowl. Nick has an extra NFC championship.
Okay.
Nick has won more games.
Nick
has a higher win percentage. Come on, man. I mean,
they have never, ever in a billion years built the teams that they have built around Doug Peterson that they have built around Nick Sirianni. And this guy won a Super Bowl with a fucking backup quarterback.
I'm saying you said he did
And
more
spare
with
pieces like you were in free agency, the guys they brought in.
Okay.
Doug
I don't disagree with that. I disagree that he did more with
lesser talent.
He
had lesser talent in his time, did he not?
Yes, I just agreed to that.
Yeah. Okay.
You said he did more with less.
Yeah.
Define more. He did not do more than Nick has.
There's no way Nick Sirianni could do what Doug Peterson did with that roster.
That's a different comment than saying he did more.
No. That's my take is I think this guy has done more with lesser talent. And I'm talking about, I see what you're saying. I got it. He's got 2 NFC titles, the win percentage.
Right. He does have great talent, but he's gotten a lot out of that talent.
Okay. Then why is his ass on the hot seat?
Well, because I think everybody's on the hot seat in Philly all the time. That's the team that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman run.
Okay. I don't hear anybody screaming about Andy Reid being fired or Sean McVay being fired.
No, Andy Reid is not. His owner is not Jeffrey Lurie. Why was Doug Peterson? You just brought up Doug. He was fired 3 years after a Super Bowl. Why?
I think you listen. I know that you give Nick a lot of love. I think they're going to find another guy to do the same shit.
I'm not even giving Nick love right now. I'm simply calling out what is truthful in this organization. Doug didn't have a leash either.
Doug had no talent like this. And how about this?
All right, so why was he fired?
How about this? You think Doug would have had them 23 and 25 nuclear meltdowns the way Nick did in games like San Francisco, or do you think Doug would have found ways to win that San Francisco game?
It's an impossible question to answer. It's a hypothetical.
You think Doug would have do you think Doug would have had better answers for the 49er game than what Nick did for Verts?
With Jalen Hurts? I don't know.
Huh. Okay. That was a pretty good game plan they came up with Nick Foles.
Again, you're back on the game plan. The success is the success.
I think Doug Peterson has more answers than Nick.
All right, but I know, but you can't just say, okay, imagine Doug is the 2025 coach. What would they have done in this specific situation? A lot of things lead up to every situation.
Right. If I'm going to talk about a coach and talk about how great he is as a football coach, I'm going to compare him to another coach. Do you think Kyle Shanahan? Do you think that Andy Reid? Do you think some of these guys would have a different result than what we saw in that 49er game? It's not an egregious question. Do you think another guy
would have a tough question to answer though, because it forfeits all of the preceding context?
Well, what I'm going to use is the context of the guy having answers in critical games with a resume.
Well, Doug did show that in tough moments, yes, he had better answers, but he had different personnel. He had a different team. He had a different quarterback. I mean, here's a question. Could Jalen Hurts have thrown the ball 41 times in the Super Bowl 52 to win?
What do you mean?
I'm saying that Doug had different players, which allowed him to do different things. When Doug needed Nick Foles to throw the ball 41 times, he could still win a football game.
That's a really good question. Who did Doug have catch those footballs 41 times? Who are the guys in that game that Foles was throwing to?
No, not very good. Not very good.
And he still built a game plan for Foles to throw.
Who do you have? Alshon Jeffrey, Torrey Smith. He had Corey Clement. He had Nelson Aguilar, right?
Yeah.
Was Aguilar on that team? Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are your three receivers.
Was Whiteside on that team?
Tight end, you had Ertz. And Goddard. No, Goddard was there a year later. That's who you had. You had Corey Clement, an undrafted free agent. I get what you're saying. I just have a hard time. Like, it's hard for me to say, well, would Doug have called a better play at that point in time? It's like, I don't know. Would they even been at that point in time? You know what I mean? I don't know. It would have looked completely different the whole way through. It would have been different decisions, different personnel, different teams, different play caller, different everything. They might never have been in that situation.
Let me ask you this. If you were a betting man and you had to put some chips on the table here, at the start of the 2027 season, who's most not likely to be there? Hurts or Nick?
For next season?
Mm-hmm.
I disagree with John here. I actually think it's Jalen.
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, the contract's up after, not up, but the guarantees run out after this year. So
doesn't this make sense? I think this, and I agree with you. I'm on your page with this. You know why? Don't you think that Jeffrey, and by the way, you know that comment that people say all the time in Philadelphia that how much the owner loves Jalen Hurts? Dude, Doug Peterson, if you can fire Doug Peterson in delivering a Super Bowl, I've heard Jeffrey Lurie say how much he loves Doug. He still fired his ass.
yeah.
Okay? He fired Andy Reid.
That's why I said to you, Nick being on the hot seat it's not an indictment on Nick.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's not real. I mean, that's just the organization,
How about this? I think they would want to work more with Nick than Jalen next year.
Look, do you agree with this? Nick coaches with a hand tied behind his back, and Howie and Jeff hiding behind him. I'll treat Nick to a beer any day in the city.
I do agree.
That's what I meant by saying, like, Nick is still doing. He's got a good roster, but Nick is still, figuring out ways to win games too. It's not like it's just like, all right, we got the All-Star team, roll them out there. I don't do a fucking thing, and they just win every game known to man. I mean, I don't think that's happening at all.
One thing on that bleeding green, you believe that front office is all in on Hurts?
Right now, no. They're in wait and see mode. He would have gotten a new contract this summer if they were all in. 100%.
Why is that hard for people to see in Philly?
Because they love Jalen. That's why. And that's what it comes down to. But I mean, I gave them the list of names this morning. Jalen Hurts, Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Devontae Smith, Jordan Mailata, Zach Bond, and I even threw Jalen Hunt in there. Do you think the Eagles want to pay all those guys next summer? No, the right thing to do would have been pay Jalen Hurts this summer to get out ahead of it.
I had a Jomo on there too because he's a free agent. Or he's
I had a Jomo leaving because they're paying Carter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
wow.
So a Jomo was leaving on this. And so is Nolan Smith. That's why I put Jalen.
And by the way, you can also, as we said yesterday, put a little asterisk. If your boy turns out to be a 1,500-yard receiver, someone's going to be knocking at the door trying to get a new contract and up his salary to put him in the room with the top one wide receivers in the NFL.
Come on, Rice. Rice says Sirianni's still learning and growing, but Hurts isn't. Rice, come on. You're going to sit here and tell me that a player in the National Football League is the same shelf life as a head coach? Andy Reid's been a head coach for like 30 years, dude. Quarterbacks are lucky to play 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. Come on, Rice. They're not on the same. That's not the same. That's not the same curve, dude. That's not the same graph, the same chart.
That's not at all. I don't agree with that. So what did you make of that comment? By the way, we're going to read all your supers, and we appreciate you guys doing this. Thank you so much. Zander, what'd you make of that comment by Jason Lincoln Fora, NFL.com, talking about potentially this coming offseason that Lamar Jackson could be an answer for the Philadelphia Eagles if they decide to move off of Jalen Hurts? What'd you make of that?
Well, I mean, it's very Howie-esque. If Jalen is not going to be successful or is going to struggle again and they try and, go a different route, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, remember, this is a GM who was in the sweepstakes with multiple first-round picks for Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. So, look, Howie will take his shot if he feels it will make the team better. I don't know that I would go that route, to be honest with you. I mean,
Lamar's a better player. You agree?
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. Is that really a question? I mean, Lamar is one of the best players in the league, but I just don't know that his skill set right now is not even the skill set. It's more so like, are you going to take the dead cap hit from Jalen, then take multiple first-round picks, and then pay him $65 million? It's like it's a lot of investment. It's almost too much because if you're gonna move on from Hurts, that's the other thing. Lamar is probably 30 years old and he's a dual threat too. That's my concern with the skill set. But if you're gonna move on from Hurts, like you almost need to get cheaper because you're not going to be able to shell out the same money at quarterback, especially with the contracts coming up that I just rattled off. So it's kind of a tougher situation, but wouldn't surprise me if they went that route. Not my favorite option, I won't lie to you, but like I'd almost rather. Someone brought up Mac Jones this morning. I mean,
I completely have been bringing him up for 2 months.
I mean, that would be interesting.
See, you could bring him over for $5 million right now, and you would have that guy. In my opinion, I think you'd win.
You mean if you traded for him?
Well, yeah, you'd have to probably give up a 3 for him.
Yeah, he's not making $5 million, is he?
I think so. I think it's 3.5, maybe. I think it's 3.5.
He got like 10 or something.
No.
Yeah, you're right. $5 million.
Yeah. Okay, and you're probably going to have to give a 3. By the way, that guy last year threw for 2,100 yards in 12 ball games and had 19 touch. Between Purdy and him, they threw for 4,300 yards and over 30 touchdowns between the two of them. They won 12 games together.
Yeah, and Devontae Smith likes Mac Jones too. I know that.
I mean,
want to Heisman with him.
Mac Jones is an option. And get this, like you said, that's the Sam Darnold route.
Yeah.
Bro, Sam Darnold shows you can win with a $30 million quarterback. Here's something else that we brought up yesterday. Zander, with all these salaries going up, you feel cool with $65 million for Jalen Hurts?
No, I said no
yesterday. Or how about this? Or with even a number with a 6 to it?
I'm not going to lie to you, Sills. I don't know if there's ever a world I'd be good. I'd feel good about that. I don't think he elevates the team enough to get that kind of money. If you're banking on that type of a contract for a player, you don't need a good player.
I don't think Baker Mayfield's a $55 million.
No, but I mean, we're talking about 65. Like, if I'm paying somebody 65, they're a game changer, not a manager, not handing the ball to Saquon, not have a great a game changer. Jalen has not been a game changer since 22, really.
Yeah.
So I think Hurts is right outside the top 10, right? I think he's outside the top 10, right?
Let me ask you this. Do you think one of the also reasons is the reason that they're changing this offense is because if we're going to pay a guy $60 million, you better perform like that guy.
Well, maybe.
That plays like he's 65. Because to me, I heard John say this to you. They're not setting him up. You know what they are setting him up for? This is what we expect our offense to look like. And you know what? You could take that as this, Zander. Hey, it may not be a setup, but it may be this. If we're going to pay you, Jalen Hurts, top dollar, you need to perform like this.
Well,
that's actually a setup almost in a way.
I think that's fair. I mean, you know what? Unfortunately, I think is the most likely outcome this year. And I'm not going to speak on the contract. I don't know what the outcome of that's going to be, but the most likely outcome, in my opinion, is it's middle of the road again. Like it's not so bad that you're like, holy shit, get rid of Jalen Hurts. But it's also not so good that you're like, throw him $65 million. Who cares? You got to do it. So I feel as though they're going to be right in the middle again. And you're going to get to the end of the year, and you're probably going to have half the people, who are in love with Jalen Hurts for whatever reason. I don't know what reasons. And they want to pay him. And there's half the fan base who doesn't think he's doing a good enough job and don't want to pay him. So the Eagles are going to have to make that decision. But I do think that's the most likely outcome in terms of on the field this year.
Were you shocked that John said that you couldn't get a 1 for Jalen Carter?
Yeah, I was. I don't agree with him, actually. I think somebody will give a 1 for him, even with the contract. I mean,
the contract does cloud it.
Yeah, because you have to pay him huge money when you trade for him. But I watched the Eagles trade the 18th overall pick and pay AJ Brown top of the market. I mean, if you're telling me there's not one team out there that's going to pay Jalen Carter, come on. And
you're going to give a 1 up and pay $35 billion.
I'll say this: I don't think he'd get a 1 right now.
No,
I don't think he's been good enough to get a 1 right now. But if he is, let's say he has a return to 2020 form year, This
Shit.
year, yeah,
You're talking about multiple
he's going
picks
to go one. Yeah.
and the money. You think he's made that second step in his career?
Carter?
Yep.
No, not yet. I think he took a huge first step, but kind of tapered off a little bit after that.
You think he stepped backwards?
Well, I think obviously, the injuries, and stuff was a big factor last year. I wish he showed a little bit more maturity. Not because,
do you like the player?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Or
hell yeah.
What I'm asking you is this: you talk about his talent, then you always throw in his character thing.
Well, because I know the Eagles care. That's why I do it. 100%.
You like Jordan Davis more than him, don't you?
As a player, no.
As an overall package,
yeah. If I were the owner of the Eagles,
yeah,
I would feel better about Jordan Davis representing.
He could be a lesser player, but I like the guy more.
Yeah, if I were the owner, I would feel better about Jordan Davis representing my franchise in totality than Jalen Carter. And again, I don't even care about the spitting, but it's not the first incident. That's why it's an issue. That's why Jeffrey. If that was the only incident that Jalen Carter ever had of immaturity, I think it would be fine. All right, Greg. Football. How many cells? I mean, you played the game. I played sports. I mean, chirping at people is fucking a part of the game. Yeah. That's what you do. Yeah. You chirp, you hit, you slash, you do everything. So I don't have a problem with that. But I know Jeffrey Lurie did, and it's not the first instance of it. So that's definitely part of it.
Will Sean Mannion, will he make Jalen Hurts' job easier this year as a starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Will he make Jalen Hurts' job what?
Easier this year. Last year they made it harder, didn't they?
I don't know why everybody just removes Jalen from the blame on this.
No shit. Dude, I completely. Hey, you know what's funny? Everyone will go after Allen and say he got McDermott fired. Hurts got KP fired. Give a shit what they say.
Well, the only difference there is I do think that the KP was put in a position where because they ran so well in 24, they tried to do that again.
That's the head coach's call.
Exactly. Like if you have I think the offense I think you could blame more Nick than KP last year offensively, honestly. Now
they put a guy in a place that was over his head.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nick wanted to run, understandably wanted to run the offense that won him a Super Bowl.
And I think it was probably an easy sell. But let me ask you this. So how do you think Nick went back to management and sold them on the same process this year that they did last year in hiring? Do you think it's the reasoning is because he's from out of the building is what sold it? And he's coming from a pass background is what sold it? Do you think that's how again, he went down basically the same route. How did you sell that to Lauria and Howie when last year?
It wasn't the same route. I mean, he elevated Kevin Petula. Remember, that was also late February.
Yeah, but he was also he had no experience as a play caller. You went right back to that.
Yeah, from that perspective, yeah. But I guess they were impressed by Mannion enough to the point where they were ready to do that. And the other thing is the schematic shift, I guess. KP, they knew that KP was being asked to run what worked in 24. Sean, they're not asking to do that. Sean, I haven't seen a coordinator have this much autonomy under Nick yet.
I'd hang in there on that until
that's what I'm saying. Seemingly, let's see what happens, but seemingly,
yeah. I mean, I look at it like this. Let's see what happens in September. I really let's see what happens with him in September. I'll tell you what, man. What about all the noise that's around your football team? Has there been more noise under the Nick Sirianni era than under Doug's era?
More noise,
more off the field.
I think Jalen's a more polarizing player. Because his skill set's tough to gauge, dude. I mean, look, all the people who love Jalen Hurts in the chat, and there's a ton of them right now. None of them will point to skill sets. None of them. It's not. That's not what they point to. The team
Super Bowl
winning,
MVP and wins.
right? The team winning, the big moments. They point to that. There's no. They don't point to this player is exceptional. When you talk about Lane Johnson, you point. He's an exceptional football player. Saquon Barkley, what an exceptional talent. Carson Wentz, what an exceptional talent. Jalen Hurts that's not what people defend him on. So I think it's a harder thing to gauge. And the funniest part about it is it's the same thing with Nick. It's the same conversation.
Yeah, because Nick has no particular skill set you can land on.
I think it's easier to give Nick credit than it is Hurts.
I think the one here again, here's where I will disagree with people on Nick. I think 24 that fell into place. And I think the 23 season, I think the 24 season, and the 24 season, especially the 25 season, every single time that guy has had to make a decision. In 24, when he made that decision, he had no options. They had to get away from the passing game because they were 2-2 and they were turning the ball over at a high clip.
And I'm sure he knew the rumors of him being on the hot seat.
And he was.
Yeah.
Let's run the ball. Lane Johnson and Malata and them went the bye week and said, let's run it. Well, Barkley did something that pretty much hurt the entire organization. You know what that was? He hid the deficiencies of the passing game. He completely hid it. And here you are now. How could a guy have that kind of resume, 50 and 18 in 4 years? And we're talking like this. Zander, I have never in my time covering the National Football League ever covered a quarterback where you're constantly trying to replace the guy because he's not good enough as a skill set player. I've never seen this. And it makes your team polarizing, especially when you get this. You think Jalen Hurts forced A.J. Brown out?
No.
Well, he didn't want to be here anymore.
Well, it depends what you mean forced.
Okay, well.
Like, do you think Jalen Hurts led the charge on getting A.J. Brown traded? Hell no.
You think his talent let him out of here?
No. But you could make an argument that Nick's offense did.
Because Nick's offense had to succumb to the quarterback's talent.
Yeah, but when they ran in 22 and 23, AJ was happy. Got 1,500 yards. Team had great success.
Okay, that's right. And the ball went through him. Well, let me ask you though, how don't you blame? I don't know how you don't look at Hurts as being part of this. Why AJ's not here? He made the money. He won. He had numbers. Why didn't he want to be here? Why didn't he want to be here?
Well, I mean, do we really have to rehash this right now? We've talked
about
No.
What I'm saying is that this is part of the thing with Hurts, though, that we talk about with that bleeding green argument and that bleeding green stuff is that this guy here, you can say whatever you want. He left because the offense, you want to call it the offense? I'll call it the offense with the quarterback.
Well, I don't disagree.
Why he wanted to be out of here.
I don't disagree with that. But
and some go like this. Well, that's
my point is that you can't exclusively put it on Jalen because AJ was happy in 22 and 23. It's the same quarterback.
Yeah, with different approach.
Different approach, right? So that the approach is still a part of it. Risk averse.
Okay.
Don't remember AJ had comments. Put the ball. Let your killers kill, or one of those comments like that. Put the ball in the hands of the playman. Let us contribute to the winning, stuff like that. I don't think that was as much on Hurts as people think. Now, Hurts is baked into it because they run the offense that they run in many ways because of the quarterback. So yes, he is baked into it, but the approach obviously made it get to a degree to which AJ wanted out. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Mannion coming up this year, Zander, a couple more here. Then we're going to read some of the supers. By the way, guys, I love Marshall got it going today. Did you see that? He had like
my boy Hollywood. I saw that just dropped a banger. I got to get to that.
I know we got to get to that one here, but Sean Mannion, you feel comfortable with him as your offensive coordinator, correct?
I mean, I feel as good as you can feel. I mean, he has never called a play. I mean, how good can you feel? I mean, I feel like he's a smart dude. I feel like he has a good idea about what he wants to run. He seems to be a sponge for information, or at least has been throughout his career. I think he showed a lot of good traits, but you know, he's got the challenge that everybody's had. Let's see how he handles it.
So
he might be sounding like Nick Sirianni after week 6.
So ESP just made this comment here. Reacts to the Bleeding Green Nation story on Jalen Hurts. It is plain and obvious what is happening here. The Eagles are not in on Jalen Hurts. It doesn't matter what any of us think. It could not be any more obvious. They are very hesitant right now about Jalen Hurts. That's a guy who covers the team, is in the locker room every day.
Well, I mean, is anybody like even? Yeah, it's obvious. I mean, they're not sold. He would have had a contract. I've said that. That's obvious. That you know, they got to see it. And to be honest, well, what do you think Jalen has to do to get the contract?
I think he's got to take a team impressively himself, carry a football team like he did in 22. And I think he's got to take that team at least to the NFC Championship game. Maybe divisional.
I agree with the first part of what you said completely. I'm not going to go to the point of
maybe divisional. Maybe divisional.
Yeah, like I'm not going to say it has to be the NFC Championship game, but I agree. It has to look like 22. 22. When the 22 season ended, I don't know if everybody
he was the engine.
Nobody was questioning Jalen Hurts. I think even you were like, I'm eating my crow on Jalen.
I said he was a weapon.
Yeah. I mean, nobody. So if Jalen does that, you know, then all right. But that feels far-fetched to me.
I do too. I think that's far-fetched that he's going to be in that position. All right, guys, let's get Zander. Let's get to the really cool super. Let's get
to my boy Hogan. Look at that.
Hey, dude.
Hogan with a banger. $100 super chat. Look at that. He says this. Congratulations on getting married. Enjoy the ride, brother. Oh, I'm doing that, Hogan. Best wishes. Put this in your SpaceX Kids College Fund from a 49er fan. Yeah, how about that? I'll be buying some stuff. I already bought some SpaceX stock last week. Bought a little bit in the Roth.
Good for you, man. Dude.
I think it's going to come back to earth a little bit here. You know, the big money always tries to wipe out the retail traders. Be wary out there, everybody, but hold for the long haul. You'll be good.
One of my favorite bitches about this whole thing is with Elon Musk is that, you know, you got people like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and all these people going like, how can a guy be a trillionaire with all this? I know how Elon Musk, I know how he made his money. I don't know how you made your money. Okay. I don't know. I don't know how you made your money. Holy cow. Look at
Here's Hogan again with $100 bang. Boy, I'll tell you what. We might have to do a 49er segment. Man, Brock Purdy. Woo! That guy can play ball.
Hollywood. Wait a minute. I'm going to put Zander on the dish here. Ready? Who would you rather have run the Sean Mannion offense, Brock Purdy or Hurts?
Brock Purdy.
Oh.
Why is that funny?
Because these people are going to start moaning and crying and dragging their Hurts knees around here, and they're going to get all stuffed up.
He says this, 49er fans don't mess around. Enjoy Italy. Thanks, Hogan. I appreciate you, dude. You asked me who wants to run this offense. If the offense is what I think it's going to be, it's Brock Purdy. If you ask me who I want to run the RPO, Jalen Hurts. By the way, let me teach somebody a lesson in this chat. Deshay says, space is fake, you morons. Hey, Deshay, when it comes to making money, nobody gives a royal fuck what you think, what your opinion is. Nobody gives a shit. Money is there to be made, my friend. Whether space is real or not, I could give two shits. All right, Deshae, take your personal vendettas out of it. You'll make more cash that way.
Dude, Elon Musk is a goat.
Yeah, he's a trillionaire. It's insane. I can't even compute that in my head.
Did you hear that he could buy every NFL team? Every single NFL team and NBA team, and still have, guess what? $500 million. Like, no, still have what is it? $50 billion left.
Wait, look, Theo's right. Space is fake. Deshae, so is money. They just printer go burr. It's fucking fake. It was made in like the 1900s, wasn't it? The stupid shit that we have. Come on, man. Bunch of man-made printed bills that we give meaning to. Look, I was showing Sileo these things before the show.
Liras.
He's out. Speaking of Italy, I'm going to be dangerous with these folks. This is like Monopoly money, these euros. I mean, you got different sizes. The little fives are like smaller than the 10s.
Dude.
And the 20s are a little bit bigger. I mean, I'm going to be in Italy. Fun coupons, throwing these things out.
It looked like food stamps.
Yeah, they do.
Hey, listen to this. When I lived in Austria for a year, we had these things called shillings. 400 shilling was like $39 or some shit. Here I am going like this. Look, hey, I just got these shillings. I'm just whipping these bitches out, you know. I had no idea. I had to get my little converter and shit. I'd here look. Tu beer. Ina Vasa. Bring the Vasa. Hey.
Hogan, thank you, bro. $200 of super chats is no joke. Thank you, my friend. I do appreciate it greatly. Khaled says this. I feel like if Nick had a pocket quarterback, he'd be able to do more. Oh, Khaled, thanks. Me too, man.
I think that's what they're thinking too, my friend.
That's what it's not. Wait. You can't have that take. You've been shitting on Nick Sirianni for 5 years. You're not allowed to say that, Sileo.
He's a fucking he's just a doorman. I mean, I'm with Angelo. Oh, by the way, Angelo's on tomorrow too. So yes, the resident Angelo Cataldi, Nick Sirianni hater. He hates that guy, man. But I think it's more personal because he didn't want to come on.
And here's Mrs. Reyes. She says this. Here, don't say I never gave y'all nothing. All right, M. Reyes.
There you go, Reyes.
All right, Big Mike.
How you doing, man? Zander, this is gonna be a year. You're still on your 12 wins?
Nah.
You backed it up 11?
I put 11 and I went up to 12, didn't I?
Yeah.
Or did I do 12 and I went down to 11?
No. I think you were 13 and went down to 12.
No. Whoa. Silly, this guy, he cannot not embellish. He has to. He doesn't know how to speak without embellishing. It's almost remarkable. It was 12 and I went down to 11.
You see, it's how I hear it.
I think it's 11. 11 is a fair number. The defense is going to be really good. If and I'll say it'll go up. I won't go down from there. If I got to go up or down, I'll say up to 12 because the offense, they don't even have to be that good, dude. If the offense is 15th in the NFL this year,
I got to get this.
If the offense is 15th in the NFL this year, they could win 12 games, 12, 13 games.
Bullshit. A teammate winning this. Hold on for a second. I got something here for you before you get the hell out of here. Okay, I got something.
Wow, they just set Brendan Sorsby's pro day for July 10th.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Will the Eagles be there?
Yes.
Yeah, of course they will. Of course they will.
Big Sills 10 bold predictions. 8 and 9.
8 and 9 is a shit prediction. Defense is too good.
That doesn't mean they're not going to be good. Because you're waiting when I tell you here. Jordan Davis will outplay Jalen Carter again.
That'll be a big problem for Jalen Carter.
Number 3, Mannion's offense will not be better than Kevin Patullo's.
Oh, God. Oh, my gosh. if this is true, get ready for next offseason, everybody, because everybody's getting fired.
Barkley will have 1,300 yards.
Okay.
Devontae will come in. Big Sil's bold predictions. Devontae will have 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns.
I put him at 1,250 and 9, I think, so we're close.
Okay. Your defense will be ranked 10th. Your offense will be ranked 25th.
Oh, God.
Jalen Hurts will have 15 picks. John Campbell will make the Pro Bowl.
Wow, that's a big one.
And you sold me on this guy. You did.
Who?
You sold me on him.
Who?
I think Tariq Woolen's going to have 6 picks this year.
All right. You want my bold predictions? Here's a couple off the top. These are not my officials. So for all you losers out there with a pen and paper, all right, these are just off the top. Quinyon Mitchell will be a back-to-back first-team All-Pro.
Wow.
Cooper DeJean will take a small step backwards.
Wow.
What else do I got?
Carter. Give me one on Carter.
Carter earns the contract.
Ooh, okay. Give me one on Mannion.
I don't want to contradict my takes. It's hard to give one on Mannion right now.
Okay.
If I tell you that Mannion's offense is top 18, does that mean that Jalen's getting paid at the end of the year?
No. What will the defense be ranked?
4th. Offense is going to have to be top 20 though if they want to be 4th. You can't have a top 5 defense if your offense is that bad.
Browns did a year ago.
What was the Browns offense ranked?
Browns defense was 4th.
All right, that's all I got right now. I got to think of some more. When I'm sailing the waters of Italy and I'm looking at the Italian coastline.
Are you gonna be in the Mediterranean, like in the water there? Are you gonna go in there?
I mean, we're going to the Amalfi Coast, so I'm gonna be.
What, on the other side?
Yeah, we're gonna be on the Amalfi Coast, so I'm gonna stay. I got a day trip to Capri or whatever it's called, and I got some stuff. I don't know, dude.
Are you going up to northern Italy at all?
No,
or are you gonna hang out? No.
Yeah, no. We're going to
Rome.
Rome.
Hang out in the middle there, around, right?
We're going to Rome for 3 days, and then we're going to the Amalfi Coast for 8.
So let me see, Calabrese, Nobledon. So you're gonna be hanging
I'll
around
see
in
the
there.
Colosseum. I'll see the Colosseum. I'll see the Vatican.
Ooh.
I'll see the Trevi Fountain in Rome. We got a Capri day trip. I'm doing the whole coast on a boat of the Amalfi Coast. That should be pretty cool. And then I have everybody's going to love this. I think I'm even doing an Italian cooking class, folks.
Wow.
Well, it's not like a cooking class. You go and you make a pizza.
I think that's fun shit, dog.
Yeah, you make a pizza in Italy. It'll be dope.
Yeah. I saw the Colosseum. We took a day trip when I was in Austria down to Italy. We had a weekend. We went down there, and I had to see the Roman Colosseum.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Dude, wait till you see this thing. It's in the middle of Rome, and you're like, fuck.
I know, it's crazy. Rome is. I've never been to Rome. It's always a place I've wanted to go. So should be pretty good.
And dude,
DC, look, he says, how much did this set you back? DC, I don't want to talk about it. All right, dude? I don't want to fucking talk about it. DC, it's one of those trips my wallet's not down there. You take out the card, you shut your eyes, and you just hand it over, and you just motherfuck the trip, and you just sit back. Between that and the wedding ring, oh my goodness, yeah, it's been an expensive period.
Do you like thin crust pizza or thick crust pizza? See, I'm a thin crust
pizza, dude.
Okay.
Pizza. I will be eating a lot of gelato. And I'll be drinking a lot of espressos. I'll be getting some. What's it called when they do the espresso with like ice cream? Is that an affogato?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be doing those. Pistachio. I mean, come on, man. It's gonna be
Bro,
good.
the
It's
ice
gonna
cream
be
there
good.
is really great. Oh,
Yeah,
you're gonna
I'm
love the
excited.
whole dude.
When's
The
the last
grub.
time you were in Italy? I can't imagine
Bro.
you flying to Italy because you just like you don't want to leave.
No. When I went to when I wrestled, we went all over. In like I lived in Austria, and then we went down to Belgium. We went down to Prague. Then we took a train, dude. Let me hear something crazy. I went through the Swiss Alps on a train. It was fucking unreal.
That sounds unreal. I've always wanted. That's a place I'd love to go. Is go skiing.
It was unreal. And then we went down through Saint Laurent, and we went down through the northern part of Italy, and we went down. We went down for this trip. It took us a bit to get down there. It took us like around, I think, 6 hours to get down to go to see the Roman Colosseum, and then we went back. Yeah, I lived in Europe for a year, dude.
That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. Well, I'll tell you how I like it. I'm either gonna love it. Wow, Senor, that's pretty cool. I love Rome and Amalfi Coast. I proposed in Venice. That's dope, man. Senor, that's a great spot, man. That's great.
Yeah. Too bad you're not going to get down to the boot and not going to get down.
Nah, I'm going to try and do it. I'm going to try and go back. It's hard because there's so much good stuff to see in Italy. You're never going to do it in one trip. You know, I mean, believe me, when they were like, let's take 2 weeks, I'm like sitting there, like, I'm thinking about business. I'm like, 2 weeks. Wait, 2 weeks? You want 2 weeks? Like, so I already had enough of an aneurysm with that. But, yeah, maybe one day I'll go for
what. See, to me, the one place I want to go, if I had a bucket list for me to go, I'd want to go to Athens.
That'd be cool. Greece, yeah.
Yeah, I want to go. I want to see like the Parthenon.
I'd rather explore all of Italy before I go to Greece, but like I want to go see the Dolomites.
Yeah.
I want to go. You know, there's a bunch of places I want to go. You know,
bro,
my
downtown
family was from
downtown Rome. You'll see where they believe Caesar's buried and all that. And it's gonna be
right. I'll see all that. So
yeah,
it should be good, man. Hyper says try to let the business go. I'm trying. So I got in a debate the other night about my laptop, actually with my parents. My dad was like, dude, don't bring your laptop. I'm like, what the fuck are you smoking? You think I'm not bringing my You think I'm going off the grid 2 weeks on my laptop? I can't do that. I can't do that. So
don't you leave me like that, man.
Look,
no way.
The laptop is already in the bag, folks. You see that?
Wait a minute. They didn't want you to bring it?
Nah, they wanted because they want me to relax. You know, they know I never relax. So they wanted me to relax, but I gotta bring the laptop.
Yeah, my wife and my kid want me to go to they want to go to France and they want to see like those places. They want to go down to Italy and they want to do that.
Heriberto says you guys don't stop cursing, you're going to be in hell. Well, Heriberto, that's a little harsh, but I am going to try and stop cursing. I struggle with it, Heriberto, or whatever your name is. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I think Sileo brings it out of me. It's something about something about his taste.
John, I tell you what, I'm sick of this bullshit because at the end of the day, John McMullen cusses more than I do. He says the same.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
He says the same shit I say, but he says it like this. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on.
Look at the jerk. Don't forget to put Passaic, New Jersey. Nah, this is the honeymoon, dude. I'm not getting married in Italy.
You're taking off on. So when are you taking off?
Sunday. I get married Saturday.
Is it a straight trip to Rome or you got to stop in Heathrow?
Yeah, no, straight trip. I'm flying out of what am I flying out of? I think Newark. We went Newark because Philly was a nightmare. When I fly back in, I'll be flying back into Philly.
You're not stopping at Heathrow then. Okay?
We're going right through. Great. Yeah, I paid the extra ball. I'm not doing a layover.
Bro, check this out.
So I'm not flying for, everybody says, you want to fly first class, your honeymoon, what do you get? I'm like, you know what it costs to get 2 first class tickets to this flight?
$3,000.
$4,000 a pop.
$4,000 a pop.
I was like, honey, with all due respect, I'd rather blow $8,000 on you on Italian leather and jewelry and bags and shoes and clothes than pay $8,000 to sit in the front of a plane. Like, come on, dude, that's not worth it.
Yeah. When I flew, hey, listen, I took Lufthansa. and I had to land in Heathrow. And then when I took off in Heathrow, I landed in Frankfurt. And get this, I had to take this thing called Tribolian Air. And it was a prop plane that took us in their grots. And then we took the train up to Vienna. Dude, I'm flying on this prop plane going into grots.
Dude, prop planes, I'm out on prop planes. Prop planes.
I was like, I used to take those little prop jumpers from LaGuardia up to Boston to see a chick back in the day. I hated that. The guy goes, hey, we're going to fly at about 200 feet off the ground. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so, Junior. Big Z, I got to tell you, man, you got a lot on your plate.
I'm aware.
Oh, by the way, one last question here. So what's the dinner? What are you having for dinner for your wedding?
Yeah, steak. You got an invitation. You know what we're having for dinner.
Oh, I forgot that.
Wait, not only did Sileo and John listen to this, you guys want to. Not only did
John has no excuse.
No, he doesn't. Not only did they blow off the wedding. All right, Jalen Krause over here. Not only did they blow off the wedding, they didn't even have the courtesy to send the RSVP and say no. Yeah, my fiance's texting me, hey, are John and Sileo coming? I'm like, yeah, let me ask them. They couldn't even fill out the RSVP. The postage was paid for. I mean, what are we doing here?
I have it still too.
I know it's sitting here. So why don't you go and look at my beautiful invitation, and you can see
beautiful. It is. It's really well.
You can see what the dinner I think was steak and there was a fish, right? There was
a
sea bass. Sea bass. Yeah, because our wedding is right by the water. So
yeah. It was the invitation's spectacular. I got it downstairs next to my.
Yeah, I know you got it. You never said
stuff. I have it. I still have it.
I'm just messing with you.
My wife even said this. She's like, dude, why don't you send this back? I mean, have a little courtesy here. I go, I'm going to keep this.
All right. You don't send back the actual info. You send back the RSVP, the card that was put in there to send back.
My aunt asked me too. She goes, "When's?"
That's who I should have invited. Your aunt. She would have came.
She would have came. I think my aunt's sending you something.
That's what I should have done.
I think my aunt's
Betty, you're invited. Big Sills, you're out of here.
Hey, I think my aunt's sending you something. I don't know. I think she is.
That's right. She doesn't have to do that.
Yeah,
all right. I love you, brother. I appreciate
I love you too, dude. Hey, man. A lot of great things.
Flaked on me.
What?
Even though you flaked on me.
I'll never hear the end of this. I do love you, though, man. And I'm really
wait. John's my co-host. You're not just my co-host.
I know. Listen.
But I can't get mad at you because it's like 5 racks to fly across the country right now. It's ridiculous. I get it. Believe me.
Let me tell you this, okay? I'm going to tell you in front of everybody. Thank you for everything. I love you very much.
You're good.
Family.
Please don't butter me up. Oh,
God. No, listen. I'm very proud of you getting married. I can't wait to see what your life is. Pretty soon you're going to have little Zanders running around.
I know.
I mean,
God will be on the way when I return from my Italy stay.
What's the kid's name going to be? You have an idea?
Yeah. I mean, sons, I know. Daughters, I have no clue.
I named Danielle.
Son first. I'll probably go Alexander. I don't know that I would do the same middle name because I don't know that I would want him to be a second. Like I'm not big on that. Okay. But I do love the name Alexander, and I'd like him to be actually one of the things in my life that now that I'm older, I wish I went by Alexander. Not just I hate Alex though. Alexander.
I love Xander.
So probably that, and then probably James. My middle name is James. So I was even thinking Alexander James for 1 and James Alexander for 2. I think would be pretty cool, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know how that will change, how that will progress. This is just a couple.
Yeah, everyone thinks I named Danielle after me. I named her after my grandpa. My grandpa.
Jalen Krause.
Jalen, no. Nick Krause.
Nick, all right. Nick
Krause. Big C, I'm going to let you go, dog. Appreciate you very much.
Later, Stills. Appreciate you, brother.
You got it, man. Love you, man. That's all good. Great stuff here, man. I believe Sills loves Z better. I believe Sills loves Z. Better send a big gift, Sills. I do love the kid, man. Yeah, we're boys, dude. Seals, the Parthenon is awesome because you get up there away from the city with just ancient ruins, but it's like 60 minutes of touring. The rest of Athens is just a city. Hey, that's kind of what Vienna is too. Vienna is like, I went to the Vienna Opera House. I saw where Mozart and Strauss were buried. I actually also saw where they buried what was his name? The Nazi general Rommel. I saw where Rommel was buried. Went right by his grave. I think I got a picture of Rommel. I took a picture of that thing, like one of the greatest generals of all time. So I took a picture of that. Oh, I took a picture of the palace in Vienna. I have Stephansplatz, Stephansgratz. I took a picture of that. Yeah, I went all over Europe when I lived there. Okay. It was really a great place. You know, the ice cream was great. I didn't mind Vienna. The food was okay. The food was okay. What was wild about Vienna is that they sell beer in the McDonald's. And you go into McDonald's, there's a guy in front of me, and the guy's going, 2 beer. And the guy goes, like, gives him 2 beers. I mean, they serve beer in the McDonald's. And I thought it was wild. And I said, yeah, can I have a Coke and I don't know, I think it was a Big Mac or something. Guy comes, there's 4 ice cubes. And I'm like, what's up with the ice? They don't believe in ice in Europe. They didn't believe in ice. And I'm like, no, give me a cup of ice. And the guy goes, American, huh? Yeah. He's sprechen Sie Deutsch? And you're like, a little bit. I'm starting to pick up some of the stuff. Hey, dude, here's the thing about the beer in Germany. It is unbelievable. Like, they don't have, it's under the ground and in these giant canisters. And dude, when I tell you there's no carbonation, I see why people get waxed on that beer there, man. I mean, it is great. I couldn't believe it. And the greatest drink I ever had in my life was in Vienna. Red Bull and red vodka. I couldn't believe how great it was. I mean, the food was okay. The food in Belgium was pretty decent. Where else did I go? We went to the Czech Republic. I went down there. I thought that was all right. We went to northern Italy. We went to right outside of France, Saint Laurent. We went down. We took the train down. All this shit's in proximity to where we were. And I was there for 12 months in Europe. And I lived there. I lived in Graz. I lived in Vienna. And I lived in Vienna for about 9 months. Yeah, so and then I went earlier. I had played football for the World League, and we went over and played in London. We went to Heathrow, and then we played in Frankfurt. So I went to Frankfurt, Germany. I went to Heathrow, and I played football there with those 2 places. I played in Canada, Montreal. Where else did we play? I think that's the only places in Europe I played football. And in Canada. Montreal. We played in Montreal. And we played in Frankfurt and in London. Played in London. We played at Wembley, which was pretty cool. Let's see here. Yes. NFL Europe. Here. Here's a big silk card. Somebody sent me these. There's my Big Sills World League card. Right there. How you doing? Official Pro Set World League card, defensive tackle, Big Sills. Here's the back. Right there. Defensive tackle. I haven't really read what it says. Blessed with what is this? Blessed with extraordinary strength. As a freshman at Maryland, bench pressed a record 405 pounds. Then after transferring to Miami in 1984, bench pressed 535 pounds and squatted 700. Both school records. Had 97 total tackles, 13 tackles for losses, 7 sacks, and 8 fumble recoveries. In 1986, was named to various watch lists for the Lombardi and Outland Trophy, was a top finalist for the Lombardi and Outland Trophy in 1986 and 1987. Was a third-round supplemental pick by the Bucks, joined the Cowboys, made a comeback with the Orlando Thunder, and finished second-team All-World League. It's pretty cool. Here you go. Look at that face. Oof. Looks like a mugshot. Got a bunch of these, too. I should probably sign some of these and give them to y'all. Okay? Take care and stay chill, Z. Marriage is all in a day's work. You got it? My aunt is right. My wife's not home. And boy, I'll tell you that. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. By the way, Jason Cole will be with us. That will be at the 5:30 mark. Seals, I can't wait to hear about the armada the Eagles are about to send to Sorsby's Pro Day. You got it. They're going. Hey, here it is. Brendan Sorsby, a Philadelphia Eagle, and he will be the man replacing Jalen Hurts. Brendan Sorsby Pro Day. July 10th. July the 10th. Have they set the 2027 date yet for the supplemental draft? Supplemental draft. 2027 date. They don't have a date yet. He's got to apply for it. He's got to apply. So here are the guys. Okay? Let me give you the list. Let me go here. Here's the list of the supplemental draft guys. All-time supplemental NFL draft picks. By the way, you get big money for this. So here we go. So there was a running back by the name of Al Hunter who played at Notre Dame. He went in the 4th round. The reason he was suspended from Notre Dame for disciplinary reasons, and he was drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. In 78, they had 2 guys, a 10th and a 12th rounder, Johnny Durden and Rod Connors, USC and Sam Houston State. In 79, they had a guy named Rod Stewart, who was a 6th-round running back from Kentucky, went to the Buffalo Bills. In 1980, Matthew Teague from Prairie View A&M went to the Atlanta Falcons in the 7th. These are all late-round picks. Billy Mullins, wide receiver from USC, went in that pick, what round? 9th. Dave Wilson, quarterback, Illinois, went to New Orleans, a 1st-round pick. 82, Kevin Robinson, cornerback, 9th round, Detroit Lions. 1985. You want to hear something, guys? 1985. When Bernie Kosar did this, this gave me an idea, And this is how I went. And Bernie, who's been on our program, and you guys know very well, when he did this, I was like, huh. Bernie Kosar went in the he went in the supplemental draft. So I thought about it too. And I was like, interesting. Okay. So Bernie was a first round pick. Roosevelt Snipes from Florida State went in the 8th round. In 86, the Eagles used the supplemental draft for a guy named Charles Crawford, running back. Took him in the 7th. Here's my draft. Brian Bosworth, first round pick. Seahawks, Oklahoma. Dan Sileo, defensive tackle, 3rd round. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Was declared ineligible by the NCAA for his senior season, which was criminal. Chris Carter was suspended before his senior year season for signing with an agent. 4th round, Eagles took him. Guy would go on to have a Hall of Fame career. Steve Walsh was a 1st rounder. Tim Rosenbach was a 1st rounder. Bobby Humphrey was a 1st rounder. The draft picks, Dave Brown was a 1st rounder. As I said, Jamal Williams, nose tackle for the Chargers, who had a really good career out of Oklahoma State, is the highest interior tackle drafted. I'm 2nd. Ahmad Brooks, linebacker in the 3rd round. Josh Gordon, great football player. Too bad. And the last time they used the supplemental was 2019. Not everybody's good enough to get into that situation and get that opportunity to play in the draft with that. Okay, so I think you go after Sorsby. Why not? Giving up a 3rd round pick. Here, what did the Eagles have as draft picks? In 27. What do they have for draft picks? Eagles, 2027 draft picks. You don't have a 3rd rounder. You have a 4th rounder. You'd have to give up a 2. 5th rounder, the Eagles owned the better of the 2 5th-round picks. 6th rounder, you traded to the Packers. So, how many picks do you have? 1, 2, 4, and 7. Yeah, you only have a 1, 2, 4, and 7. You're either going to have to put a fourth rounder in or a 2nd rounder. I don't know if they'll put a 2nd rounder in for that guy. Seals, how would the contract be valued and structured for Sorsby when he's taken? That's a great question. My contract went like this. Because of here, you have flexibility. I believe that's let me ask the NFLPA. Do players in the supplemental draft have leeway in contract and go? Do players in the supplemental draft traditionally not follow normal contract draft rules? Normal contract draft rules. Meaning where you get taken, there's a set place. Because that wasn't the case for me. I got paid 1st round money. Now here, they've changed it. Yes, players selected in a supplemental receive standard guaranteed rookie contracts. Incidentally, to the NFL wage scale used in April. Okay. So you are on the rookie wage scale. That must be part of the new CBA that they cut. The bidding system, teams submit blind bids indicating the specific round 1 through 7 that they're willing to use a player. So the Eagles are probably going to put that 4th round up, I would think. Since I was a football life on Chris Carter, it wasn't just having an agent that got him in trouble. It was also lying to a grand jury. Chris had all kinds of troubles when he went to Philadelphia. He had a drug problem too. And Buddy Ryan theoretically saved his life by cutting him. You know what he did? What was really cool about Buddy? Buddy called him in the office. He cut him and told him, I'm going to save your life. You need treatment. I think the Eagles helped him get his treatment. What did Buddy do? He picked the phone up and called Dennis Green and said, Dennis, when this kid comes out, you should end up signing this guy. And sure enough, as soon as he came out of rehab, Dennis Green signed him because Buddy Ryan recommended that he sign him. He goes, this guy's a great dude. He just needs to get his shit together. And he basically saved his life. I mean, he told him flat out. I mean, he was at Jerome's funeral. He loved playing in Philly too, by the way. I think he enjoyed more playing in Philly than he did enjoy playing in Minnesota. He had more success, obviously, in Minnesota, put a Hall of Fame career together. But he loved those guys. He loved playing in that city. I've talked to Chris. We need to get Chris on. Only guys that knew were Jerome Brown and Seth Joyner. Yeah, that's correct. That's why, hey, when Chris Carter, my wife and I were sitting, and Chris is bawling. So we walk into the church, and Chris Carter's standing against the wall, and he's just sobbing, like uncontrollably. You can hear him. You felt broken up for him. We all went over to him and said, man. And he was just like a 5-year-old crying his ass off. And it was really heartbreaking because Jerome really did everything he could to try to save the guy's life. And Chris couldn't do anything to save Jerome's life. We all couldn't. We all carry a burden on that. We talked to Jerome numerous times about his speeding and shit. Chris did too. And Jerome would always try to help him. And my wife is bawling because Chris is just, he was like lost control of, really emotional. It was really tough to watch. There were a lot of guys in there. It was tough to watch Reggie White talking about Jerome. It was just really hard to see. Clyde Simmons was just, man. And to see Chris Carter like that, uncontrollably crying. And my wife, we were like, Cortez Kennedy and Russell Maryland just could not control themselves either. It was really heartbreaking. That was by the way, 3 days from now, Jerome was killed. And it's just heartbreaking. And it's true. Jerome and Seth knew. And they tried to do everything they could for the guy. They really did. Seals 49ers won a 1 and a 2 if Mack is traded this year. I think that's a little rich, but his value has gone up a ton. Hey, by the way, Reyes, after the years of all that, it's not just me. It's kind of all of us that played with him. It's hard to believe, even all these years later, that guy's gone. Man, Reggie White would never have left Philly he would never have left Philly if Jerome hadn't died. If Jerome Brown doesn't die, okay, if he doesn't die, Reggie White doesn't leave because Jerome would never have left Philadelphia. I told you this before. I don't know, maybe because Norman Braman would have sold it. Jerome loved Norman Braman. I know many of you guys don't like Norman Braman, but we all loved him. And I've told you why. Norman Braman is a South Florida guy, and he loved us. We would go over to his house for dinner. Braman Cadillac is the number. I think Braman Cadillac, still to this day, is the number one Cadillac dealership in the country. And he come to practice. He loved Jerome and myself. He loved Jerome. Braman Cadillac. Number one in America. I believe it still is. Norman Braman. Braman Cadillac, located in Miami. One of the largest automotive showrooms and one of the number one Cadillac dealerships in all of America. It's an enormous place down on Biscayne Boulevard. Norman Braman used to give Jerome and I, like, if we wanted to use a Cadillac for a weekend, we can go down there, and we used to go down and get Cadillacs and drive them around. And he would give us the car to use. Freaking really awesome time down there in Miami when he was down there. We had so much fun. Man. Sills, Thomas Peterson, Bleacher Report. According to the Raiders insider, Hondo Carpenter, Eagles have enormous interest in trading for Max Crosby. He called the Eagles' interest nuclear hot. I think Jalen Carter could be part of that deal. Listen, I think Jalen Carter could be part of a deal anytime. I think you guys are wrong. I don't think that contract is coming anytime soon where they're going to pay him $35 million. I think he's worn a lot of people out in Philadelphia. I really do. Okay? Tremendous. Just because he's... I don't want to talk about that guy. Let's see here. Look, the Crosby deal. I still think the Raiders are listening. Seals, Carter had one of the best pair of hands in National Football League that I've ever seen, and his boundary toe tap catches were insane. He was, in my opinion, I think Chris Carter is the greatest wide receiver to ever come out of Ohio State. I think he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest wide receiver to ever play at Ohio State. And that includes Paul Warfield. Go back into the list of great wideouts. I think Chris Carter is the greatest wide receiver to ever play in the National Football League. Just tremendous. Yeah, man. I think this Sorsby thing's real. I think the Eagles have great interest in this. Seals, also, who knows who's going to need Crosby during the season? It could be a trading deadline thing. I could see that. Seals, I don't know if Max Crosby is big enough upgrade from Carter. If we were to move off of Carter, it would have to be Garrett or trade for Burrow or Lamar. Carter's not going to guarantee. Dude, Carter doesn't have that value. Stick in the room with Carter and Crosby. I mean, that's not going to happen. NFL is going to be crazy great. It is. And I'll say it one more time about this take. He could be a trading deadline guy. He could be. He could be a trading deadline. You know, that one, I went back and reread that Bleeding Green column. And boy, I'll tell you, there have been more scathing articles written about Hurts this offseason. It makes you wonder if a lot of this stuff is coming out of the organization. It does. It makes you wonder if a lot of people are setting this whole thing up to have a narrative to get out from that contract. It just seems there's a story every day about Hurts not being backed. Conversations about him having to step up in 26. What I mean, Sills, is we don't need great edge play, but Myles Garrett's a different maker. Yeah, I get it, but you're not that the Rams have him now. Sills, good amount of teams done a great job upgrading, definitely. The NFC side is really shaping up. There's some really good football rosters right now. That's a great take, actually. That's a great take. Crosby and Grenard would be sick. That would be. But you're going to give up, remember, you're going to give up probably Carter for that. On the NFC side, I think the Cowboys have improved their roster. Here's the guys I think improved their roster. The Cowboys. I don't really think the Commanders improved. I think the Giants did. Now this, I'm not giving a one-loss record. I'll do that later. Cowboys, Giants. I don't think the Bears upgraded. I think the Packers. I don't think the Packers have upgraded. I think Minnesota has. I don't really think Detroit has. Carolina has. I don't think the Bucks have. I think the Saints have. The Rams clearly have. I don't really think the Seahawks have. I think the 49ers have done a nice job. The teams that improved roster-wise in the NFC, Cowboys, Giants, Minnesota, Carolina, the Saints, Rams, 49ers. I think those teams did a nice job this offseason. Look at Washington's roster. We upgraded D-line and linebacker and safety. That's right. You went into the draft, and I believe you got Styles from Ohio State. That's clearly an upgrade. So I didn't add the draft. You're right. But it's a rookie, Tommy. Let's see what he does, you know? But then again, I'm giving the Cowboys Caleb Downs, so yeah. I think Washington. See the depth chart. Daniels. You have no running back. You did add Rashid White, who could be an impact player there. McLaurin, McCaffrey, Antonio Williams. Tunsil has to have a turnaround year. Deron Payne, Kinlaw, Styles, Krause, Martin. They're better. That is a better roster. It's not littered with superstar guys. That old line of years, though. Tunsil, Paul, Algoretti, Cosme, and Josh Connerly. And that running game. I wish they would have kept the kid from the Chargers. because that would have given them a little bit better of a running attack. You got Mariota as your backup, not bad. I think I'd rather save ammo for a new quarterback than an edge. Yeah, but here, the quarterbacks next year in the draft, if you're as good as you think you're going to be down in the 20s, the late 20s. Are you really going to find a quarterback there? Hey, I'll tell you what, that's going to be wild. If Hurts has a bad year, do they take both those twos and move up to get somebody in there? I mean, I don't know if the Eagles could ever get to number one because that's Arch Manning. If I had to pick, if you go down, and by the way, Sorsby would be a first-round pick. 2027 ranking for quarterbacks. Draft QBs. Yeah, it's Manning. That kid Messamaker. Is that kid Messamaker at Oklahoma State? Is that the same kid that was at North Texas? He was good in the American. I saw that kid play last year. He was the player of the year in the American, I believe. That kid can play. And if he has a good year at Oklahoma State, that kid can play. His name was Drew Messamaker. And I think the kid Mensa, too, could play. The kid's at University of Miami. I actually think he's going to be an upgrade from Carson Beck. Arch Manning, I'm just not a Dante Moore guy. But that Drew Messamaker, he was at North Texas. And I saw that kid play. I saw that kid actually play in person. He can fucking throw it, dude. Let's see what he does in the Big 12. McKee traded prior to the supplemental draft makes a lot of sense if the Eagles go for Sorsby. Boy, I'll tell you what. They have no intention of paying Tanner McKee. If you're splitting reps in camp, they do not feel comfortable paying him $5 or $6 million. I mean, Tanner McKee would have gotten a contract extension. Yes, that's Joe Green's school, Kyle. It is. Sills, have you seen the Eagles' latest YouTube short? Cooper DeJean is effing jacked. He put on an insane amount of muscle during the offseason. Good. Garrett said the best tackle he played against. Dude, Jeremy Tunsil is a fine ball player. He was a really good ball player when he was in Houston and Miami, I believe, right? I think he was in Miami, and then he went to Houston, and now he's in Washington. Yeah, kid was a great player, man. Having both Grenard and him will not work. Look, Jonathan Grenard, I think is a really good football player. I do. I think he's a good football player, but dude, there's a chance that Jalen Carter's not going to be on that Eagle team. I still think that there's a great chance he could be traded. Boy, I'll tell you what. So I put it out there, and I said that the Philadelphia Eagles should definitely draft Brendan Sorsby. And boy, I'll tell you, just like that Bleeding Green article, if you say anything like that to improve your football team, it's an automatic shot. And then race comes into everything. Why you don't like Jalen Hurts or this and that. Dude, I'm looking at the same thing the Eagles are doing. They're looking to upgrade the passing game. How are you not seeing that? This is the second time in 3 years the Philadelphia Eagles have tried improving the passing game. The first time it failed. Now you're going to go back and try to do it again and think you're going to have the success? How? Sills, do you think any big contracts coming this summer in the NFL? Yeah, Lamar Jackson. Yes, Lamar Jackson. Sills told me you go to Washington to die. Hold on here. Sills told me you go to Washington to die. We went to NFC Championship game after we hired Quinn. Don't sweat, Tommy Sills, my dog. That's not true, James. The year you went to the NFC Championship game, I picked you to win the division. And I picked Jaden Daniels to win the Rookie of the Year. They didn't win the division that year because the Eagles did. But they went to the NFC Championship game. So that's not true what James is saying. He forgot I picked them to go to the NFC title or to win the division that year. And the Eagles won it. That's a good question. The Buccaneers right now are in negotiations with Baker. Baker thinks he's a $55 million guy. The Bucs thinks he's a $40 million guy or $50 million guy. They're $5 million away. Well, if you're talking a 3-year contract, that's $15 million. Those deals aren't that easy to overcome. Sills, what made Tom Osborne an elite coach? When you think about college football, you don't really think of Nebraska. Well, you know what he would do, and him and Barry Switzer, back in the day, you could give 100 scholarships. You could give 100 scholarships to players. And what they used to do is keep players away from Kansas, Oklahoma State, all the Big 8 schools. So they hoarded all the great players. He was a good recruiter, though, dude. Sills, what is Carter trade value? Would you sign a Jomo if they trade Carter? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, we do that. All right. You know, I asked Zander this question, so we'll ask you. So Jason Lankenfora has come out and said that the Eagles would have great interest in potentially trading for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a generational player. He's generational. He's a Hall of Fame talent. And here is the one thing when you look at him and what he's done as a football player. He's a generational player. And he's going to get $64 million. So, Lamar Jackson. Let's bring him up. Lamar Jackson, let's see here. Let's see, 76, 31. So in 107 ball games, let's see here. He's won 70% of his football games that he's played, I believe. 76 divided by 107 equals. He's won 71% of his football games as a starting quarterback. He has the highest passing rating in the history of the National Football League. He's led the National Football League in touchdown passes twice, 36 and 41. In 27, he had 4,172 yards passing, 41 touchdowns, and 4 picks. And he also that year ran for 915 yards. 6 yards a clip. And he'll be 29 this year. He's a generational football player. Generational. Would I rather have a quarterback who's never sniffed a Super Bowl? That dude. Again, Jalen Hurts is not a better player. He's not a better football player. So getting Jackson is only a dream. The problem that you would have is coaching. And to me, would Nick Sirianni be the coach to coach Lamar Jackson? Or would it be somebody like a Mike Tomlin that you would bring in for him? And by the way, we've got a Hall of Fame voter coming up. That Hall of Fame voter will tell you Lamar Jackson's a Hall of Fame player. Okay, we'll ask a Hall of Fame voter that here in a couple minutes. That is not going to happen. He is nowhere in the same conversation with him. Here. I will tell you right now. Let's go here. 32 NFL, 26 QBs. Here we go. Let's see here. Okay, perfect. This is great. Starting quarterbacks in National Football League going into 26. Stafford's 1, Allen's 2, Lamar Jackson's 3, Joe Burrow's 4, Mahomes is 5, Caleb Williams is 6, Justin Herbert's 7, Dak's 8, Drake May's 9, Jaden Daniels is 10, Trevor Lawrence is 11, Baker Mayfield's 12, Sam Darnold's 13, Brock Purdy's 14, Jared Goff is 15, Jalen Hurts is 16, Jordan Love is 17, probably too low. Bo Nix is 18. Daniels is 19. Rodgers is 20. Those would be your top 20 quarterbacks. I mean, Hurts is like the 16th best quarterback or 17th best quarterback in the league. I mean, Lamar's a paycheck player. Here's something else to go down the lane of, too, when you're looking at Hurts. Here, I want to show you something. They're almost identical. Almost completely identical. So Marcus Mariota has 104 games, and he started 82. He's got 17,879 passing yards with 107 touchdowns in 82 starts. Jalen Hurts in 82 starts has 17,891. Mariota 17,879. Hurts has 17,891. He's got like 10 yards more. And Hurts has 110 passing touchdowns. And Mariota's got 107. I mean, Sills. Also, look at the other you mentioned. they can read a defense and throw it to the middle of the field. Yeah. Let's see here. Maybe after you sign the big contract, it becomes just about the money and you don't care to win or lose as long as you get paid. Dan, is it like that? Well, once you win like AJ did, now it becomes more about your legacy. Players want it both, dude. They want to be able to have the amount of wins, and they also want their cake and eat it. They want to be on good teams. By the way, AJ's not going to a shitty team. AJ's going to one of the best organizations in all of pro football. I mean, as much as you want to, look, the last 25 years, Patriots have been the best organization in football. Nobody's been better than New England. New England's had a couple down years. But, dudes who usually don't win much are usually the guys playing from behind who end up racking up 4,000 yards in garbage time because you had to throw the ball for a comeback. Again, dude, then why is your organization changing the whole entire football team offensively? You keep missing that. If they had your mentality, they would stick to what they were doing. You're completely missing it. All the shit they've done this offseason, you're ignoring. You think it's just rhetoric. You signed all these wideouts. You've hired an offensive coordinator who's a passing coordinator. You're implementing stuff, and the players are even saying it's new. You're ignoring all that. You're just ignoring it. You're totally ignoring everything the Eagles have done this offseason. 1,000%. The writing is on the wall with this organization. It's been there for a while. She's right on. Who are we all kidding? Jalen will be gone in about 2 years. I say sooner. Kim, the writing is on the wall. All these articles. The movement they've made. What are you not believing? What I'm saying? Or what the Eagles are doing? This doesn't make sense. You're ignoring their actions. Every single thing they've done. Moving up 3 spots in the draft. Hiring Sean Mannion. Telling Jalen Hurts it's time to step up and be a passer. What are you not seeing? It's wild. Sills, Philadelphia literally types the same 25 comments during every show. He's the same guy that said quarterbacks who throw for 4K plus yards aren't successful in the postseason. Like who? Mahomes? Brady? Sam Darnold? Who, those guys? To that point, Sells, even if Jalen does stay for 2 more years, that's about it for him. We have to set up the future. They know. Let me see here. Let's see if we got where the hell Jason is. Hopefully he's coming aboard. After 22, he thought Jalen would keep growing, and he's been regressing completely. By the way, there was a guy in here that said something about Hurts' growth. Yeah, if he had Andy Reid, he'd be growing. There's no doubt. He would be. Boy. So it looks like the pro day is now set for Brandon Sorsby. It looks like it's going to be July. Let me get that exact day before we get to Jason Cole here. And it looks like, again, a lot of football teams, including the Eagles, have interest. Brendan Sorsby's pro day. Let me get this before I get to Jason Cole here. July 10th is his pro day. The NFL overlooks a lot of stuff. He's a first-round selection guy. What does Jason Cole think of this? Let's bring our friend in here, our Hall of Fame voter. You know, there's a lot of heat on everybody in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles right now are said to have shown they have great interest in Brandon Sorsby. Do you think he plays, Jason, in the National Football League? Do you think he goes in a supplemental draft high?
No. I don't think he gets drafted at all. I don't think he ever plays in the NFL at all.
Why?
Can't gamble. Can't be trusted. This is there's nothing. There is absolutely nothing that the NFL is more afraid of than gambling. Zero. Like you can murder somebody. They can handle that. You can beat the crap out of family members. They can deal with that. You can upset your partners. You can kneel on the field. They'll deal with that. They'll figure it out. Gambling? No way. No how. I'd be stunned if he gets drafted. Now, could they put on a show where he gets invited to a camp and somebody, and that way they don't get sued or anything stupid like that? Maybe, but I don't know why they would care. Like, I don't understand why you go out of your way for this kid. He's not worth it.
Even if he's a first-round talent, and he is.
Not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth. You're talking about the integrity of the league. You're talking about, your partners, your gambling partners, all the people. No, I wouldn't touch this kid. I wouldn't touch him. I wouldn't touch him with, like, I don't know what metaphor I can use that says it any stronger, but he is radioactive. All right. We talked about this the last time. We talked about Texas Tech. We had a conversation about this. Your teammates can't trust you at Texas. I mean, Texas Tech, to their credit, finally figured it out. They were lunkheads, but they finally figured it out. We can't have this kid here. Okay, they finally gave up, and they got somebody. They got a judge in that town to cheat for them, and then they had to finally figure it out that we can't touch this guy. There was so much pressure on them to give up, and they have a lot less at stake. All right. And again, I come back to forget even the public view of it and what it says, which is really important. But in the NFL, how do you line up with a dude who bets on games? Like, now we're talking about men. We're talking, we were just talking about college dudes last time. Now we're talking about men who they got millions of dollars riding on the line on their careers, and they can't trust a dude who's lined up, whether he's on the up and up. No way. No way. Like, this kid needs to go and play somewhere else and rehabilitate himself for 3 or 4 years, if anybody takes, like the Arena League could take, or whatever minor league is out there, they could take him. Canada could take this kid. Maybe he goes away for 3, 4, 5 years, gets clean of all of this, gets the stink of it away from him. But he doesn't get to play in the NFL. I mean, not in my view. If I'm Roger Goodell, It's like, okay, you guys want to check him out and go look at him and stuff like that, go right ahead. But I'm not, there's no way he's playing in this league.
How about this too, Jace? Is there a way around this for the league to do this? Because again,
they can ban him.
They can. Well, yeah. What I was going to say is, remember Terrell Pryor when he came out of college, out of Ohio State. Remember they retroactive a suspension for the guy, and they put a suspension on him because of that whole like Ohio State gate with all the stuff going on with the tattoos and whatever it was with Tressel.
Right. They gave him a suspension after the fact. Yes. They could give him some suspension after the fact because he broke college rules. Yeah, they could do that. I bet just ban him. Like, just you're banned. You're guilty of gambling. You can't gamble and be in this league.
Yeah, but
that's it.
Okay, here's the union. Okay, so the union goes back to the NFL and says, "What are you banning him for?"
Gambling.
Gambling's legal.
Okay, not on your own teams, not on football, not in this league. You can't gamble on football in this league.
Judge passed it. Jason said that the guy could play
in college.
Okay,
and guess what? He was so radioactive that they said, "We ain't fighting this. We're not fighting this fight." Texas Tech was not willing to fight the fight. You can't gamble on sports and play. You can't gamble on your own sport and play in the NFL. What'd they do to Calvin Ridley for placing like a $100 wager? That dude lost a year of his career. This dude's way beyond Calvin Ridley. Okay, way beyond Calvin Ridley.
The Eagles took a gamble on, if I can say that, on Isaiah Rodgers, who was banned a year for gambling when he was with the Colts, and the Eagles signed him.
Right, but he didn't gamble on football. Okay, he gambled. All right. I mean, I take that. He bet on didn't he bet on a service in like fantasy football? I can't remember the.
It was like a fan.
This is different. This is betting on teams to win. This is betting on your own team with knowledge of your own. Like, no, you can't have this. I mean, he's a quarterback.
Do you think the NFL shows up for that July 10th pro day?
We'll see. I mean, I don't have a problem with going and looking at the kid. I would be honest with him. I would say, "Look, kid, I can't draft you. I'm not going to draft, but I want to see what happens because I don't know what's going to happen in the future. We might get 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line. You might have cleaned up his act. He might have rehabilitated himself. I'm always willing to do research. This is why, like, when we talk about, I always laugh at teams that don't interview a lot of people when they have head coaching jobs. You know, like, remember Al Davis used to always interview a ton of people, right? Because he wanted to find out what was going on around the league. He wanted to get new ideas. He wanted to get challenged on his thinking, all those kinds of things. That's part of what you use the interview process for. So part of it is I want to know what this kid's about. I want to know what's there. I want to, do my due diligence. But I would be honest with him. I would be honest with him and say, "I can't draft you. And I'm not going to draft you. But I'll look at you."
I think someone's going to draft him.
Maybe. Good luck.
But I'm with you on this. I would be interesting to see how you get around everything that you preach to the players for 100 years. I mean, you've preached this to us for 100 years about gambling on games, and you're going to go like this? For
right.
One kid. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong here because it's been 100 years of this.
It's the full-on integrity of the game. And I know that integrity with the advent of so much gambling and everything that we do now, I know that there's this really murky line. I know it. But that line, getting close, gambling on your own team is so far away from that line. Okay. Like, you ain't even doing a triple jump and getting to that. Okay. Like, you got so far to go to get close to the line of what's murky. Like this is black and white. And the
Literally.
black and the white of it is you can't gamble on your own team. You can't gamble on your team. It's like this is no Calvin Ridley, Isaiah Rodgers. Like, can't do this. You're going to get suspended. You're going to be out of the league. Like, what are we doing here? And again, how do you introduce a guy like this to your team? How do the dudes who line up and block for the quarterback trust that he's on the up and up? How? How do you look back and say, yeah, my career is riding on you, dude? Where are you throwing the ball? The first time he has a 3 interception game, you know what's coming, right? Come on.
I think it's I do. I think it's a tough.
There's just no way. The first time he has a bad practice, it's going to be a problem. Like, but again, first time he has 3 interceptions, which I mean that happens in the NFL. Happens all the time. It happens to the best of them. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, he threw a game. He threw a game. He threw a game," and that's going to be in the back of every one of his teammates' minds. And they're sitting here going, "Hey, man, my livelihood is on the line. We got to win games, bro. I got to keep my job." And what are you doing? Right? That's going to happen. And coaches can't stop that. That's human nature. In fact, the coaches are going to be sitting there. Like, if I'm a coach and that kid throws an interception, like, do I trust that kid? No way in hell. And that's just like, again, he has so far to go to regain the trust of anybody in football.
If Al Davis was in the league, would he have drafted him?
No. I mean, Al was the ultimate renegade, but like he didn't. I mean, Al didn't understand drugs. He didn't understand why guys would take drugs instead of wanting to play football. Okay, now you're talking about a guy who wants to gamble, and look, Al went to Vegas, and he used to like to play a little bit in Vegas and stuff like that, but he didn't want to He ain't abiding betting on football.
If Rozelle was the commissioner of the league, this wouldn't even be a conversation right now.
Look, it just happened today.
Do you agree? If Rozelle was the commissioner of the NFL, it would not even be a conversation.
It would not, but it just happened today. And Roger's very careful about, making sure that he assesses. And also,
he's a lawyer.
No, Roger's not a lawyer. He's not.
Oh, I thought he was a lawyer.
No, he's not a lawyer. He never went to law school. He graduated and went straight to work for the league.
Okay.
So yeah. He went to American University in St. Louis or something like that.
I think so.
But he's not. He's definitely not a lawyer.
Okay.
So look, Roger's very careful about not stepping out, and it's also a different era. Like Rozelle existed in a world that didn't have social media, didn't have 85,000 different football analysts and voices and all this other stuff. So you do have to be a little bit more careful. But Roger's not stupid. No. And when I say that the number one thing that worries these guys is gambling. Like when you talk to them, you talk to people in the league office, I'm not saying it scares them. It terrifies them. The look on their face, they go ghostly white when they start talking about somebody being on the take. What happens if a ref is on the take? What happens if a player's on the take? What happens? They worry about this stuff. Again, drugs you can handle, violence you can handle, murder you can handle. You can there's a playbook for that. They don't have a playbook for this kind of thing.
Jason, how about this guy here? Ask Jason if Sorsby's the only college football player that bet on sports in 26. He's absolutely not. He's the only one that got caught. His point, I believe that is that if you think that he's the only guy that gambles nowadays with legalized gambling, today's a whole different world, like you just said, right?
Yeah, so.
Okay.
He got caught, but he got caught.
Understood.
Okay. I mean, what do you want me to say? Is that some justification to let him play?
No, it's a question. No.
It's a question. I mean, I'll grant him that. Yeah, there's probably tons of other kids who gambled. I'm sure that there are players in the NFL who have gambled on sports and gotten away with it. And but you get caught, and so when you get caught, and now again, the guys who didn't get caught, there was never any question about trust. With this kid, there's absolutely a question about trust. How do you, as a coach or as a teammate, line up next to a guy who you don't know if he's on the up and up? I mean, what happens to a defensive tackle? This kid throws 3 picks. They lose a game by, a field goal, and some defensive tackle who loses his mind at the end of the game because he's on edge already. You know who I'm talking about. You know plenty of these dudes, okay, who goes across and finds that dude in his locker room and stuffs him in his locker and says, I want to know if you're on the up and up.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Jace, in the Fiesta Bowl, when Testaverde threw.
Right. Yeah. You told me this, Alonso. Yeah. But
Alonso went
and
right
that
up
wasn't even violent.
Right.
That
He
wasn't
went right up to him and said, did you throw this game? And right after the national championship game, we sat down and we're like, come on, man. Come on. I mean.
But that's what's in everybody's head.
It was in our head.
It was in your head.
And he was never accused of anything.
No, I mean, we all found out what Vinny was later on.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. But like that's what's going to exist. And it already exists. It exists coming in the league. You cannot ever touch this kid. Now, somebody may do it. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think someone's going to.
I'll tell you this: it's going to be one hell of a headache.
Oh, you bet.
Like there's only a few guys who can do this. Like Andy Reid
could do this.
Andy Reid could do it because he knows the playbook. He knows the playbook on terms of how he dealt with Michael Vick. Come in and you make it purely about football, and you hide that kid away for 2 years.
Yeah.
But what's the point? What's the upside play? He's got Pat Mahomes. So like if you take him in the 5th round and you highlight him for a while, you get him rehabilitated for 3 years and you turn him into a draft pick. Yeah, but there's always going to be this. Is he leaking information about our game plan?
Oh man, what a nightmare this is.
I mean, think about it. Like that's going to happen. As soon as somebody like comes up with a defense and guesses right, and comes up with a blitz and they deck Mahomes and there's an interception, there's a big play, what the headline's going to be. Did Sorsby leak the information? Did he give away the game plan? Did he do this? Did he do that? It's a nightmare. It's an out and out nightmare. And I feel bad for the kid in some ways.
I don't.
But like you made this bed, man. And yeah, did other guys gamble? Oh well, they didn't get caught. You did.
Couple last questions here for you.
Oh, and by the way, the other one where everybody goes, oh, he's got a nervous disorder that made him gamble, right? Okay, if he has a nervous disorder that makes him gamble, I should trust him less, not more. Less.
I'm going to give that guy $15 million guaranteed. Boy,
I'm not giving him $500,000. I mean, get out.
Yeah. Hey, 2 last questions here for you. So there was an article in Bleeding Green. It's a local publication in the Philadelphia area, and it was talking about Jalen Hurts. And boy, I'll tell you what, I've never seen more negative articles written about a guy. And boy, you turned out to be right, because you know what it said in it? It said that, hey, the organization, every time there's an article or anything, no one ever backs the guy in any way, any shape or form. They never, ever back the guy. And he doesn't really take like massive amount. He has taken some accountability, but like at his last press conference, he was asked about the 4 verts, if he called it. He goes, no, someone else did. Like I said, most quarterbacks go, we all made the decision to go with that play. Mahomes would say it was our decision. It was collective. Hurts passed the buck again. So again, I mean, I think you're right about that
Well,
locker room where people don't really all like that guy.
They don't, but he's won games. He's won big games. He's played big in big games. So he's your quarterback. And I like Jim, not everybody like Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
Jim Kelly.
Well, Jim Kelly called his teammates out, and they called him out on it.
Right. And they may work. Ben Roethlisberger. Dudes didn't like Ben Roethlisberger. We know that. That's out there, right? That not the first quarterback that teammates, aren't all about. So, but is the guy talented? He's talented. And again, I'm not saying he's one of the biggest game-changing quarterbacks in the NFL. I've always been cautious about that. He is dependent on the array of talent around him more than other quarterbacks, and he's also dependent on his legs. That he creates with his legs, just like Lamar Jackson creates a lot with his legs, and you live and you die with plays like this. So yeah, you just have you have to ride it out as long as you can with a kid like this, and hope that you can have the array of talent around him that's enough and good enough to win with, and understand that there's going to be a point which you have to cut bait faster than slower.
You got one more question? You got time for one more?
Yeah, go ahead. Give me one.
All right. So Jalen Carter, I'll tell you what, you talk about a guy that's losing a lot of steam in an organization.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man, it's this dude here. His name's been brought up numerous times. I believe they're not giving him a contract extension. He thinks he's a $37 million a year guy, and there's no question that.
Well, he is when he wants to play.
And why have the Eagles not paid him that then?
When a guy spits on somebody on the first play of the game and gets kicked out of the game in the season opener, you have to wonder if he wants to be there. How many games have he been out there where he just hasn't really produced?
Quite a few last year.
Right. Like now he's a big game talent. Does he take care of himself? I mean, I don't think he's ever really been terribly out of shape. So that's okay. But what happens when he gets older? And,
I think he's terribly out of mental shape at times.
Well, yeah, look, people back in Georgia will tell you plenty about Jalen Carter and how hard he was to deal with. How hard his mother was to deal with. Because she babies him. And she's involved too much in the process, right? That's out there. Okay, you don't have to go very far to find that out. His choices in life have not always been, great. His choices on the field are what they are. It's what you see. So do you trust to build your team around this? Is that leadership? Is that like Fletcher Cox? No. Is he more talented than Fletcher Cox? Yeah. He's more talented than Fletcher Cox. And Fletcher Cox is awful good. I mean, he's a guy who, borderline Hall of Fame consideration type of guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But yeah, Jalen Carter, that's why I say they have a serious problem in leadership.
I'm starting to see it a little bit.
But I told you that last year.
It's
the guys, they don't have anybody who can stand up and give a speech. They don't have anybody who can stand up in the locker room and say, guys, either we got to calm down or guys, we got to pull it together. Whatever you have to say, they don't have that guy. Right. And, Jalen Hurts is not that guy. Jalen Carter's not that guy. AJ Brown was not that guy. Saquon is, despite his ability, is not that guy because he's not that. It's not his personality. Melata is not that guy, not his personality. Lane Johnson should be that guy, but he's been too banged up lately. And then after that, there's a certain point at which you have to be a star player. It's like when they re-signed Brandon Graham try and go on to bring some order back to the house. It's like, yeah, Brandon Graham's nice. He ain't Fletcher Cox. He ain't Jason Kelsey. He's the third guy you have to give a speech after those two guys have already lined up and said something. Like that. That's what Brandon Graham is. He's a Eagle for life type of guy. And hey, Fletcher says this and Kelsey says this, and and Graham goes, yeah, those dudes are right. Like that's his role. He's a lieutenant. He's not a general. So and that's just, that's level of talent kind of stuff. They don't have anybody who's the level of talent to walk into that room right now and tell guys to get their crap together. It's supposed to be Jalen Carter. It's supposed to be Jalen Hurts, and it's not. Right. And so, I don't know what you do with this.
Yeah, no,
Like,
26.
I don't want to sign Jalen Carter unless I know I have that other guy who can put his foot on Jalen Carter's throat and call a dude out. Fletcher Cox was that dude. They don't have that dude anymore. I don't think they're going to get it. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to sign Jalen Carter.
Make sure you guys get to my friend's place in Gainesville, Florida. When you're in Central Florida, he has just absolutely turned this place into a must-stop destination. 4113 Northwest 16th Boulevard in Gainesville, Florida, 32605.
Say hi to Sarah from Philadelphia.
Sarah from Philadelphia, the Bagel Bakery. Absolutely awesome. Jace, I love you, man. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate you.
Anytime, dude. Be good.
You got it. That is our friend Jason Cole. I disagree. I think someone's signing him. There is no doubt, in my opinion. And I got a feeling the Eagles are going to be in that conversation. My friends, I appreciate you very much. Do me a favor and please hit that like button. We will see you tomorrow. By the way, Battle Royale, Angelo Cataldi will be with us tomorrow. We will see you then, 2 to 6. We'll catch you on the flip side.